Go live. Shalom Israel. Welcome back. And we want to go ahead and first of all send a mighty shalom to all the brothers in Houston, isbhpk Houston, isbhpk Virginia, isbhpk Rochester, New York. Also, we just want to send a prayer up for those. I know there's brothers and sisters that teach in Dallas, and they just got hit with some heavy floods, like a whole summer's worth of flooding in one day, in 24 hours. They had over 15, 16 inches of flooding in one day in a 24-hour span. That the dry ground, the dry climate, that ground wasn't ready for that type of rain. And, seeing pictures of cars completely submerged, people swimming out of their cars, and swimming through the streets, swimming through the freeways, and it wasn't a pretty sight, to see all that. So we want to give a shout out and ask the Most High to cover those that that He see fit, and protect our people and sustain us, and protect those that's teaching His word, especially those that's of the household of faith that cares about the disciplines and etiquettes and virtues of the Most High. So, and anybody else that hit some bad weather, inclement weather in this last couple of days. It's been went from extremely dry to extremely moist in no time. So I want to say shalom to them too, and ask the Most High to bless them and watch them and keep them as well. So today's class, we want to go ahead and get started. Go ahead and cut the light on real quick. Let's go ahead and get started. Today's topic is virtues that frame the mind. All right. The class is about virtues that frame the mind. So this is when we look at a rudimentary level of facilitating someone's thought process, controlling someone's thought process, managing somebody's thought process, or cultivating the thought process. That's what we want to focus on today. What are some of the things that if I'm new to the truth, I'm new to the Bible, I'm new to even looking at myself from a different perspective, an inward perspective. I'm willing to face myself in the mirror and see what am I actually made of. I want to know, we should be able to look at the Bible, because James chapter 1 verse 20 says what?
James chapter 1 verse 20. It says, "For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness."
I'm sorry, James, is that 1 and 20?
Yes, sir.
Give me 2 and 20 then. Well, I don't know what it says, be doers of the word. 1 and 22 or 2 and 22? I want James 1 and 20. Is that James 1 and 20?
1 and 22?
Yeah, read that.
James chapter 1 verse 22. And James chapter 1 and verse 22.
Read that.
"But be ye doers of the word,
Okay.
and not hearers only."
What does verse 20 say?
Verse 20 says, "For the wrath of man."
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. So the Most High wants us more than anything to try to, as much as possible, make the word applicable to ourselves. How do I get the Bible and put it in practice? And that's what we want to focus on today, is putting the Bible in practice where it's applicable to my life. I can actually apply everything that I'm reading. I can apply what I'm learning. I can apply it to myself. I can add these things that I'm reading in a book, and these are not just pages. These are not just words in a Bible. These are actually living words, and they can actually manifest a change within myself. And that's what we want to focus on. So first of all, let's go to Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. We got that up on the screen. So the first
That's
verse.
the famous scripture.
Very much so.
It's an important scripture.
Hosea chapter 4 verse 6.
Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge."
So a lot of the Most High's people, the Most High's children, the children of Israel, were displaced and were broken down because we lack what?
Knowledge.
We lack knowledge. There's a certain knowledge that if we had in advance, prior to a lot of mistakes or roadblocks or walls that we hit through whatever the circumstance may be that life throws at us, we could have prevented a lot of these ills of life if we had the right what?
Knowledge.
If we had the right knowledge. So the Most High said, "My people are destroyed for lack of what?
Knowledge.
So it's not necessarily that we don't eat every day or drink, or we eat food, we eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but that's not the problem. The problem is deeper. It lies within our thought process. It lies between our cognition, how we think, how we reason, how we ration our motives. So what the Most High is looking at is, what are you doing that's causing the failure? So we find out that it's a lack of knowledge. Read on.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Because we do what?
Reject knowledge.
Because we reject knowledge. It's not that it's not available. The Bible is printed in every language in the whole earth. There's really not a place you can go on earth where you wouldn't find a translation of the Bible or the Word of the Most High. So it's not that it's not available. Bibles are free. Yep. Hotel rooms, book clubs. You can download them.
You get PDFs.
You can PDF, download them online. You can even go to Webster's, I'm sure, and get a free one. So it's not like it's not available. He says, but we reject it. So where do we reject it at? We reject it in the application of it. We barely want to read it. And if we do read it, we don't understand it. So it even makes it even that much harder to apply to ourselves. So he says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because we do what?
Because thou hast rejected knowledge.
Go ahead.
I will also reject thee.
He says the Most High said he'll turn down a blessing, he'll turn down an opportunity, he'll turn down things that could be going well within our lives. He'll turn that down and make it go south. And it'll go down the drain. All our hopes, aspirations, designs, plans, imaginations, all those things will never manifest, because he said that we reject his knowledge, and the Most High will reject thee. And anything that we try to do, the Most High will blow on it. Right? He said, thou shalt be no what?
And thou shalt be no priest to me.
So that no matter what we do, the Most High won't count it as an offering. So the Most High will reject our offerings to him and our petitions for him to receive and take recognition on our works and to back up and endorse our works. The Most High said he won't do it.
And what does that mean? So the Most High is not endorsing and not backing us up. Then what's the effect of that for us?
It's a hard life. When you look at disregarding the commandments of the Most High from the very beginning of time, you look at the first thing that was stricken as a punishment for Adam, not keeping the commandments of eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The Most High said, "Cursed be the ground for thy sake." So what does that mean? He says, "Thou shalt eat thy bread in the sweat of thy brow." So what does that mean? That means, go ahead, Ahmad.
I was just going to answer the question.
No, go ahead.
That means now we got to work for everything.
Not only work, you're going to work hard.
Struggle.
You're going to struggle.
We got to struggle. We got to fight for. We got to exhaust ourselves, and in doing that, it makes us miserable. It makes us frustrated. It makes us tired. It makes us unmotivated, discouraged. It changes our whole outlook when we have to experience those things and view life through those eyes.
Absolutely. And also in Josephus, he says that death will not be at any remote distance when you labor, because there is a certain labor that we were commissioned for, but then there's a labor that kills you, and the labor that kills you is the one that we've been blessed with. That's the one that actually shortens our lifespan. He said that's the one that actually starts taking years off and months off and time off your time on earth. Is that in really, really, really industrious labor that causes real severe strain and stress.
Is that why when you look at age range when it comes to men and women death ratios, men die faster than women usually?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's tied to that work related death is what it is. And we weren't supposed to. Our bodies were at least pliable to live 1,000 years. It was at least flexible enough and durable enough to go 1,000 years. Not anymore. So the Most High, all he does is make life even that much hard. And so life almost becomes not worth living when the Most High doesn't back up and put his blessing on our sacrifices. That's the danger that our life gets. It don't get hard for the Most High. It gets harder on us. It makes our life that much more difficult. So from there, let's go to Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28. So obviously there's something that we're missing. And he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So it's something within our mind frame that is missing some understanding and some information. Read this right here, Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28.
Proverbs chapter 25 and verse 28 reads,
Straight up.
He's straight to the point. You can read that too, yeah. Go ahead.
He that have no rule over his own spirit
Go ahead.
is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
So now that I'm missing the Most High's knowledge, because there's something that I'm missing that's making me vulnerable. And so now that I'm vulnerable, no matter, it's almost, hold on one second.
I'm vulnerable.
Go ahead.
I'm open to any kind of attack. What does it mean to be a city without walls? Can you imagine your home not having abilities to close, like windows? Windows are walls, right? Doors are walls. A garage is a wall. Imagine your home, the garage is wide open. The front door is open. The windows don't close. And you gotta take your kids to go to sleep. Would you feel comfortable going to sleep in a house that you know the doors don't lock properly?
Right.
So read the scripture again. So I have vulnerabilities. Read.
He that have no rule over his own spirit.
If I don't know how to rule, rulership means I can measure activity. I can curb and restrain activity. I can identify a problem, and I can correct a problem. I have rulership, meaning I'm the ruler. My lust isn't the ruler. My emotion isn't the ruler. My feelings aren't the ruler. Outside force in my life, or aka circumstance, is not the ruler. We should be the ruler under the Most High with His knowledge, right? We're destroyed for lack of knowledge, but our knowledge should be the rulership that we have over our spirit. Right. So if a man can't rule or govern his spirit or his mind,
is a great word because govern means control. Yeah, I have no control over my passion, and that's what we usually fail at. Is our lust, is our passion, what we feel like, what we want to obtain. Yes, sir.
I just have a definition for rule.
Go ahead.
One of a set of explicit or understood regulations or principles governing conduct within a particular activity or sphere.
So can you read it again?
One of a set of explicit or understood regulations.
So it's it's one of a set, like a group of regulations. That does what?
Or principles governing conduct.
So it's a principle or a regulation that's really govern my behavior.
Right. There's something that is set over my actions that keeps my actions in check. There's rules that I live by. There's principles that I live by where I have boundaries. I will only go so far. You know, if there's some men are in relationship, or not even relationships. Some men try to establish a relationship and they don't know what the word no means. And they end up in prison because they don't know what no means. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand that. There's no just means try harder. Those are my principles. No just means she ain't ready yet. Just keep trying. So no, it's a lot of people that have their own set of principles.
Or no,
that they live.
She's just playing.
She's just playing, yeah. You're just playing hard to get. So people have their own principles that they live by, and they're governed by their own principles. But when the Most High is looking at a person that's broken down, He said a man that read it one more time, verse 25.
Verse 28.
28. I'm sorry.
He that have no rule over his own spirit.
But if I don't have any governing, I don't have any control, I don't have any limits. There's no limitations to what I will and will not do. Go ahead.
Over his own spirit.
It is over his own spirit. Read on.
Is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
Right. It's vulnerable to every passing attack. It's vulnerable to every passing attack of thoughts. Any thought can come in at any time and control me. Meaning my mind is wide open. I'm open for whatever.
Right.
And that's not good. There's some danger involved with that. So the Most High is looking at, that's what happens when a man is undefended in his mind. So if I'm lacking the Most High's knowledge and I'm not possessing certain virtues, I'm exposed to influences around me. There's no guard, there's no shield, there's no protection around my thoughts. So now I'm easily invaded and overthrown. So let that go. Kind of building this point up. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 6. So obviously the estate that we're in, the condition that we survive in, is truly based upon what do you use to govern your thought process? Your condition in life is based upon whether you have principles or you have no principles. Whether you have values or you have no values. Whether you have limits or you have no limits. Whether you have boundaries or you don't have any boundaries.
So like a business with no structure, a house with no structure, a vehicle with no structure,
Mm-hmm.
a life with no structure, doesn't produce.
Doesn't produce. Read that, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, and I want you to read verse 6.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 6. For the whole creature and its proper kind.
It says, for the whole creature, talking about us as a whole. It says, and it's what?
For the whole creature and his proper kind.
It says, in his proper kind, meaning if we were living correctly, if we had the right knowledge, if we had the right information, if we were using the right principles, if we had the right morality. He says, for the whole creature in its proper kind, read,
was fashioned again anew.
It says that was fashioned again when?
Anew.
So I get to start over when I start my knowledge over. When I get new knowledge, remember the Most High said, my people are destroyed for lack of what?
Knowledge.
So when I get new knowledge, I can start fresh and I can rewrite who I was destined to fail to be. I was going to be a failure. I was going to come up short somehow. The Most High was going to curse everything that I was doing. But if I get a chance to implement some new knowledge, I get to start over. That's the Most High allowing me to hit the reset button.
That's the reset.
I get a chance to get the reset, but I'm not a victim to having an unguarded mind. I'm not a victim to not having the knowledge of the Most High. Read it one more time.
God. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 19, verse 6. For the whole creature and its proper kind.
It says for the whole creature. That's if we're in our proper kind. Read.
Was fashioned again anew.
Damn, we get a chance to start fresh. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta ask, the majority of our people, when you look at the condition of our people, are the children of Israel in their proper kind?
Wow.
Are they in their proper state of mind?
No.
How do you know?
Sign of the time.
Curses.
Their condition.
Their condition? What else?
Conditions, everything.
Daily interactions, you can see the lack of
Lack of success, lack of prosperity.
Lack of happiness.
Joshua 1 talks about prosperity.
Lack of
Lack of happiness, lack of success. What else?
See it in our daily
Lack
interactions.
of drive.
Daily interactions, patterns. So he says drugs. So let's find out how do you know if our people are in their proper condition or their proper, what is it? It says their proper what?
Their proper kind.
Their proper kind. How they're living out how they were supposed to be created and what they were created for. How do you know when our people are in their proper kind or not? Read on.
God. Serving the peculiar commandments.
It says they serve the peculiar commandments. What else?
That were given unto them. Serving the peculiar commandments that were given unto them.
Go ahead.
That thy children
That
thy children might be kept without hurt.
How do you know when our people are in their proper kind or not in their proper kind?
That thy children might be kept without hurt.
All you have to do is look at what?
The children.
You should look at the kids.
Wow.
The kids will determine whether our people are living right.
That's the product.
That's the product.
Wow.
Just look at the children. You can tell who's in their proper kind based on the children will tell you everything.
Damn.
They'll tell you about a house. The children will tell you about a house. All you gotta do is look at the kids. You want to know what's going on in the house? Look at the babies. Look at the snot nose. Look at the saggy diaper that look like it's barely hanging on by one piece of adhesive and tape. That look like the diaper been used like 3 times without even been changed. Look how the child is barefoot. They got black feet. Walking outside on pavement.
Respect.
Look at the child when the hair is unkept. Look at the child when the child is crying hungry. Look at the temperament. All you have to do to determine whether our people are in their right kind or whether they're following the peculiar commandments is just identify it through the children. The children will reveal to you what's going on as a nation or in a house.
Wow.
Or in a marriage. That's why they send social workers over. They do a welfare check. They're not checking. They're looking at the parents. But you know, but besides those parents, they're not there just for the parents. That welfare check is for those kids. You know what they're looking at? Where you don't even have the kids don't even have a dinner table.
The environment.
They don't even have a dinner table. You know, don't you know that people don't even realize this? Don't you know not having a dinner table is grounds for your children being put up for foster care? That's a red flag.
Wow.
Not having a dinner table is a red flag to a social worker.
I didn't know that.
Not having a table, because what you're telling me is, where's the kids eating at? Where they eating at?
And on the floor.
Ain't on the floor, right? You know what? Even in the meanest of houses, there might not have been much food on the table, but there was a table.
Right.
It might not have been a whole lot, but there was a table. But when you don't even have a table, that's a red flag. That's a red sign. They're automatically going to say, you know what? We need to go and pay another visit. We need to go ahead and schedule another. And they're not going to tell you when they're going to come through. They're going to pop up on you, and they're going to check. They're going to let me. Hey, how you doing? Hey, can I come on in? See what's going on. See how the kids are doing. Oh, the kids. No dirty clothes. Same clothes. Don't you know when you send your kids to school, they teach teachers to look out for kids that wear the same clothes every day. What are they looking for?
Neglect.
Neglect.
Yeah, neglect.
They're looking for neglect. They notice when the kids wearing the same clothes. They train these teachers, wearing the same clothes, same pants, same shirt, same shoes, same socks, no bath. That's a red flag also.
Hygiene.
We need to go ahead and send a caseworker over there to identify what's going on in that house. Something's going on in that house. Something's not happening. There's some neglect going on in that house. Bruises, bumps. So this is what the Most High said. This is how you know the estate of someone. This is how you know the estate of a household, the estate of a marriage, the estate of a nation. Check the kids. Look at our kids. They're damn Goonies. I've never seen a celebration of death in every song that every one of these youngsters sing. They celebrate death, murder, stealing women, drug sales, and showing off guns and adultery. All you have to do is just check the children. The children will let you know.
That's the litmus test.
That's the litmus test. That'll let you know where we are as a people. Look at our kids. We got that?
God.
Okay, so let that go and go to Matthew 23 and 25 real quick, and then somebody else give me this definition. Let's read this real quick. Matthew 23, 25.
Matthew chapter 23, verse 25.
Read that.
Woe unto you,
It says, woe unto you. Go ahead.
scribes and Pharisees,
Go ahead.
hypocrites!
But I just want to get this point. Hypocrites do what? Read on. What do they do? Read on.
For ye make clean the outside of the cup.
But what we'll do is we won't let anybody know. On the outside, we'll look like we're strong. We look like we got it handled. I look like my life is on point. I go to work every day. I function. On the outside, I look great.
Sharp.
I look sharp. I look on point. I look like I'm maintaining. He said on the out, they clean the outside of the cup. Read on.
And of the platter, but within they are full of, I'm sorry.
Extortion.
Dead man's bones.
I don't have the word here.
Extortion.
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 It should be
Okay.
essentially extortion.
Excess.
And excess, yeah.
But within they are full of extortion and excess.
Right, so within, there's something else going on. The inside doesn't match the outside. And a lot of our people that are not living correctly, they'll mask and they'll hide what's really going on the inside. So on the outside, I'll look strong. I'll look like everything's great. I look like I'm happy. But it's really not the case. Really, our people are masters of disguise. when it comes to pretending, or no, I'm never gonna let nobody see me sweat. I'm never gonna let nobody see me struggle. You know what I'm saying? I'll put on a show and I look strong, but inside I'm suffering. Inside I'm hurting. And that's really the case of our people. We look good on the outside, but inside we're not as solid, and we're not as built up, and we're not as firm as we look.
It's like that apple. Apples are famous for this. You see apple, you pick it, it's shiny on the outside. When you crack it open, it might be brown. It might have worms in it. You see on the ground, you pick it up, it looks great. It looks great. This is a fresh apple. Pick it up, but you look on the interior of the apple, the interior doesn't match
the shininess on the outside. That's our people. That's our people. Somebody give me the definition of preferment. Give me the definition of preferment. Yeah, preferment. You can find it in 1828. Preferment. Preferment. Somebody get that definition.
Preferment. Advancement to a higher office.
So now the Most High is saying, listen, as a nation of people, there's only one thing that's going to advance us to a higher office. Meaning, there's only one thing that the Most High where he can use us at. He said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So there's only one solution that's going to allow us as a people to advance to a higher office. That definition of that word, preferment, is powerful. It says, advance to a higher office. What else?
Advancement to a higher office, dignity, or station.
Dignity. What's going to elevate our dignity, our station, our office? What we do for the Most High. Read on.
Change of manners.
It says what?
Change of manners.
There's only one thing that can elevate you. You have to change your what?
Manners.
You got to change your manners. We got to change who we are as a person. We got to change the knowledge that goes in between our two ears. That knowledge has to get built up. And that's what elevates us as a people. That's what elevates us as an individual. Even on an individual basis. When you change your manners and you change your behavior, you change your thoughts, you elevate out of the condition or out of the state that you're currently at.
Wow.
But something has to change. You can't expect any more dignity than what you already possess if there's no change in the manners.
Which is implementing new knowledge.
Implementing the new knowledge. Implementing the new information.
Right.
And this is what elevates us as an individual, and this is what elevates us as a people. Read that definition one more time.
Preferment. Advancement to a higher office, dignity, or station.
So even if I want more rank, as a man that's in the truth, if I'm in a camp setting and I want more rank in a camp setting, how do I get more rank in a camp setting?
Change of manners.
I got to change my what?
Change of manners.
I got to change my manners. Shalom, family. I got to change my manners. I got to change how I do things. I got to change how I think. If I can change my knowledge, I can change my position. It's all based upon what I feel inside, what I build up inside first, what I put inside my mind first. If you take the time to change who you are as a person, your station will change, your rank will change, your dignity will change, your honor will change. Read on.
And even of character.
And even of character. I got to change my character. And then I go up. This is what elevates us, is when we change that character, manner. What else you got in that definition?
Superior place or office.
I elevate to a superior place or office. Read on.
All preferments should be given.
It says, but this is how the Most High look at it too. The Most High looks at it the same way. The definition says all preferment should be given to who?
Should be given to competent men.
Should be given to what?
To competent men.
Should we put incompetent men in positions of leadership?
No.
Who have bad manners and bad character? Should they be in any position of leadership?
No.
If I don't elevate or build up my manners, build up my character, then there's no way that I should be in any form of leadership. And this is something that us as a people have to wake up to. Go to we got the Josephus, right? Go to the Josephus. Go to page 98 real quick. Josephus, go to the page 98.
Come on.
And this should be book 3, chapter 12. Start at chapter 2. Chapter 12, paragraph 2.
Josephus, book 3, chapter
Book 3,
3. Okay.
chapter 12, paragraph 2.
So page 90.
Paragraph 2.
Yeah,
Page 97.
page 97, yeah.
As for the priest, he prescribed to them a double degree.
He says, for the priests, meaning the leaders, he says, Moses prescribed to the priests a double degree of what?
A double degree of purity.
He says, I need you to be twice as pure as a regular person. I need you to be twice as sacred, as holy, as sanctified, as clean. He said, I'm prescribing to the leaders a double degree of what?
Purity.
A double degree of purity. Read on.
For he restrained them in the instances above,
Go ahead.
and moreover forbade them to marry harlots.
He said, you can't marry no whores. What else?
He also forbade them to marry a slave or a captive,
Go ahead.
and such as got their living by cheating trades.
It said, you can't marry a woman who is a hustler. Who's
Wow.
She has a trade of getting over on people.
Whoa.
He said
Cheating
that
trades.
cheating trades, man. You know, the point is not to go through the whole thing, but the point is to show that for any form of leadership, there should be a double dose of discipline. There should be a double dose of posterity. There should be a double dose of purity. Jump down to the footnotes
Right.
and A and read A.
These words of Josephus are remarkable, that the lawgiver of the Jews required of the priest a double degree of purity.
It said, this is remarkable. I need you to be twice as pure as the regular person. And this is what makes you competent. That's why the definition said all preferment should be to competent men. What makes them competent? Because they're twice as pure as a regular man. Their behavior is twice as pure. Their character is twice as pure. Their manners are twice as pure. And it's not the first time you're going to read this. Read on.
In comparison of that required of the people, of which he gives several instances immediately, it was for certain the case also among the first Christians.
He says not only was it the case of Moses picking out the priests, he said that was the case of the first Christians. Go ahead.
Of the clergy, in comparison of the laity.
The laity are the regular men in the church. The leaders should always have twice as much dignity based upon their character, based upon their attributes, how they behave, how they conduct themselves, how they think, their mannerisms. Matter of fact, jump down to 278.
Line 278. But they are to be unblemished in all respects.
They should be what?
Unblemished in all respects.
They should be unblemished in what?
In all respects.
Go ahead.
He ordered that the priest who had any blemish should have his portion indeed among the priests. But he forbade him to ascend the altar or to enter into the holy house.
Go ahead.
He also enjoined them not only to observe purity in their sacred ministration.
He says not only do you take your job very serious for what you do for the Most High, you take your job serious for what you do for the Lord. You take it very serious. But not only that, but in what?
But in their daily conversation.
But also you should have twice as of the purity of a regular man in how you speak. That means your conversation shouldn't be as an average man talketh.
Right.
It shouldn't be on the level as a regular man. Your conversation should excel that of a regular person. It should be twice as pure, twice as sanctified, twice as clean, twice as appropriate. Basilicon Duran right here, from King James, letter to his son means the king's gift. Read what King James, this is a book that King James actually wrote himself. Read the page 103 in here and read what he tells his son. Therefore.
Okay. Page 103. Therefore, my son, first of all things, learn to know and love that the Most High, whom ye have a double obligation.
He says, you gotta first, the most important thing I can tell you as a father to a son is that to the Most High, you gotta what?
To the Most High, ye have a double obligation.
It says, you're obligated twice as much as anybody else. Anybody in any form of leadership or rank or position or authority has a double duty. Has a double duty of purity. They have to be twice as strong in their conversation, their manners, their behavior. This is how you elevate somebody.
Yeah.
This is who should be elevated. Read on.
First, for that he made you a man, and next, for that he made you a little God.
G-O, like a small God, like God meaning magistrate, that little God, little G-O-D. Read.
To sit on his throne and rule over other men.
Because this was King James talking to his son, Prince Henry. He says, for the fact that he made you a man, and for the fact that he made you a prince or a future king, you got twice the responsibility to behave yourself a certain way. You got twice the responsibility to conduct yourself a certain way. You got twice the responsibility of acting a certain way. Read on.
Remember that, as in dignity, he hath erected you above others. So ought ye to in thankfulness.
It says, how you show the Most High that you appreciate rank, how you show the Most High that you appreciate authority, how you show the Most High that He's elevated you in your status. This is how you show the Most High that you appreciate that you have any form of rank or dignity above anybody else. By doing what?
In thankfulness towards him, go as far beyond all others.
He says the way you show the Most High that you appreciate rank is you go far above who?
All others.
That means you do more than everybody else. That's how you show the Most High that you appreciate the fact that He brought you up out of any situation. That's how you show the Most High that you appreciate any rank that you've been given. You do more. You go further than everybody else. There's nothing that you won't do, because that's how the Most High, that's how you show the Most High you value that rank. You value that position. So this is what the Most High is trying to get us to. But as a nation, we're not there. This is why the Most High said in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1 and 2, He said what? Deuteronomy chapter 28.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. You ready?
Yep.
Come. It says, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe and do all His commandments.
He says, if you follow my commandments, you follow my information, my knowledge, the way I do things, the rules that I have set up. Read on.
Which I command thee this day.
Go ahead.
That the Lord thy power will set thee on high.
What the Most High do?
The Lord thy power will set thee on high.
Where? How high?
Above all nations of the earth.
Equal to?
Above all nations of the earth.
Separate but equal?
Above all nations of the earth.
Citizenship?
Above all nations.
The Most High said, if y'all follow my commandments, I will set you up. That's the definition of preferment. I'll raise you up in dignity. I'll raise you up in rank. Not only that, I'll make you superior to all nations where?
Of the earth.
That are on the earth.
Above
all nations that are on the earth. So this is what the Most High is promising us, not only as an individual, but as a nation of people. So if we choose to embolden ourselves or influence ourselves with gaining more of the Most High's knowledge, more of His instruction, the Most High will elevate us out of any condition. But it has to start somewhere, and that's what we're going to get into right now. Somebody let that go in Deuteronomy. Let's go to Romans chapter 8, verse 11. This is where it all begins. Let's get Romans chapter 8 and verse 11.
Romans chapter 8, verse 11.
Go ahead.
It says, "But if the spirit of him that raised up Yahushua from the dead dwell in you."
It says, if you let the spirit that raised up Christ from the dead, Yahushua, if you let that spirit dwell in you, read on.
"He that raised up Christ from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies."
He says, shall also quicken your what?
Mortal bodies.
Read on.
"By his spirit that dwelleth in you."
So there's a spirit that if we allow that spirit to be nurtured, if we nurture that spirit, which that spirit came from the Most High, if we nurture that spirit that the Most High put in us, we nurture it. He says, not only when we die will we be resurrected, but also even here on earth, it will resurrect us and elevate us. But that spirit has to be nurtured. It has to be nurtured. You have to feed it. You have to instruct it and give it the right knowledge. And you have to let it take its course in its application to change your behavior. You have to allow it to change and manipulate your thought process. You got to let it cleanse you. That's why Christ said in Matthew 17 and 17, or John 17 and 17, he said what?
St. John 17 and 17, it says, "Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth."
Thy word is true. It sanctify means to wash, cleanse, or purify. If you let the Most High wash you with His word, He will elevate you. He will resurrect you in this life and in the next life. That's what it takes to get elevated in our condition. So, getting into the class. The class is called Virtues That Frame the Mind.
I wasn't in class.
No.
We ain't even started yet.
That was just the beginning to show the importance of it. Right. So to get into the class. The class is called Virtues That Frame the Mind. So now, this framing, somebody give me the definition of framing, and somebody give me 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. Somebody else give me Jeremiah chapter 1 and 10. And somebody else give me Proverbs chapter 127 verse 1.
I got First, you want the definition first, right?
Yeah, definition of frame. And then I need somebody to get 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 9. Somebody else get Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 10.
I got that.
And then somebody else get Psalms 127 and 1. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Read that.
Who got frame?
Who got frame? Frame, just frame. F-R-A-M-E.
Frame, to regulate, to adjust, to shape, to confirm.
It
conform.
says to regulate, to do what?
Frame, to regulate, to adjust.
So if you let certain virtues regulate you, regulate your mind. If you let certain virtues make adjustments in you, read on.
To shape.
If you let certain virtues shape who you are, read on.
To conform.
And you let them change you. You let these virtues change you. Then you're allowing this to frame. You're letting these virtues frame who you are as a person. Your manners will change. Your conversation will change. Your behavior will change. Yeah.
Frame, to form and digest by thought.
It says to form and digest by what?
By thought.
So if I allow the spirit that resurrected Christ to dwell in me, it will change who I am as a man, and I'll conform to it. I'll let it frame. I'll let it adjust. What else?
It says to form and digest by thought.
By thinking. So the more I think upon these words of Christ, the more it changes who I am as a man. The more it changes everything about me. Let that go, and now get 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9. It says, "For we are laborers together with the Most High."
So you're supposed to allow the Most High to frame who you are as a person. You're supposed to be allowing the Scriptures, the Spirit of the Most High in Christ, to change and build you up as somebody completely brand new. You're supposed to allow this Digestion through thought, by taking more thought about the knowledge of the Most High, His laws and His statutes. I'm allowing more of it in so it can mold me, so it can shape who I am. This is what I'm using. This is what I'm allowing every time I read the Bible. I'm allowing the Bible to shape me. I'm allowing the Bible to mold me. Read on.
It says, for we are laborers together with the Most High. Ye are the Most High's husbandry.
It says we are the Most High's husbandry, meaning we're the ones that actually, with the knowledge, are supposed to be taking the knowledge, following what the Most High tells us, putting it in action, and then using the knowledge of the Most High to assist us into becoming a better building. It says, ye are the Most High's husbandry. Read on.
Ye are the Most High's building.
Ye are the Most High's building. And in verse 16 in that chapter it says what?
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High?
It says, don't you know that you are the temple of the Most High? Meaning, you are the structure that the Most High is working on. The Most High is trying to elevate who you are as a person. A lot of our people, because we didn't know, we were without the knowledge of the Most High. He said, my people were destroyed for lack of knowledge. We need a reset. We need to start over. There's a lot of things that how we built ourselves up, and it doesn't match the shape or the form that the Most High wanted it to be. That's why it says in now go here in Jeremiah 1 and 10. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 10. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms to root out and to pull down.
To root out. When you come into a city and you got abandoned houses, sometimes the best thing to do is just to tear them down and start fresh. Yeah, the best thing to do is let me tear everything down. And this is why the scripture says, if any man among you seemeth to be wise, let him become a what? That what?
He may become wise.
That he may be wise. Let me start over. See, a lot of us need a reset, and we need to start over. We built ourselves up a certain way, and it doesn't match the building and the dimensions that the Most High created. Because the measurement is Christ. So a lot of us have built ourselves up in ways that are not the same shape, not the same fashion, not the same form, and not made of the same ingredients. It's insufficient. So the best thing to do sometimes is to start fresh. Let me just extract everything that I think I know. And this is the part that requires humility. It's to allow somebody to reshape your thought process. He said that's what he called Jeremiah to do. He said, I've called you this day to do what?
I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms to root out.
To do what?
To root out.
To root out. What else?
And to pull down.
Pull down. What else?
And to destroy.
Go ahead.
And to throw down.
And to throw down. Go ahead.
To build.
Go ahead.
And to plant.
And to plant. So what needs to happen is, I have all my old ways, my old mannerisms, my old knowledge. It needs to be scrapped, and I got to be refashioned and conformed all over again. I got to throw down what I think I know. I got to remove everything that I thought I knew about life, everything I thought I knew about the Most High, because my knowledge only got me so far. My knowledge only gets you so far. There's no preferment with my knowledge, meaning there's no excelling of dignity with my knowledge. Somebody that allows the Spirit of the Most High to work on their mind will always be the one that's higher ranking above me. I may be older in age. I may be older in years. I may have been around longer. I may have been through a lot of circumstances. I got a lot of stories to tell. I may have a lot of experience in life. But it means nothing. That doesn't equivalate to preferment. That doesn't excel you in dignity. What excels a person in dignity is how much of the Most High's knowledge do you allow to digest into you by thought? How much of it do you digest? How much do you allow it to conform you as a man or a woman? That's what designates this process of being restructured and becoming this building that the Most High is trying to put together. So the Most High is trying to put together a building. He's putting together a structure. So I want to kind of take it slow, because anytime you look at a building from the ground up, you know, you have to tear down. You gotta clear it out. You gotta clear it out and start over. Knock it down. Get the construction crew to come in. Get the bulldozers. Plow it down. Separate the rubble from the iron. the rebar, clear it, start over, grade the ground again, re-level the ground, go back and put a whole new foundation down all over again. And that's actually what we have to do in order to elevate ourselves. But the question is, who's humble enough to accept the fact that in order for me to grow, that I need this level of rehab. I need this level of rehabilitation. Because my knowledge only got me so far. And the Most High is trying to build me up in a whole nother way. So I got to scrap what I thought I knew. And that's what the Most High is doing. So read that one more time in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9.
And you can let that go in Jeremiah.
For we are laborers together with the Most High.
Okay, go ahead.
Ye are the Most High's husbandry.
It says, ye are the Most High's what?
Husbandry.
No, we're the laborers. Go ahead.
Ye are the Most High's building.
And what he's trying to construct is us. The Most High is trying to do construction on us. The Most High is trying to do construction on each and every one of us. On how we think, how we behave, how we talk, our manners, everything about us. I got to allow this construction process to happen. I got to be open enough to receive the fact that I need to be made new. Because if I don't, I'm only going to go so far. Then I have to start out. I have to get the reset button all over again. Most I will reset my life and I'll lose everything. Then I have to build it right back up. But guess what happens if you try to build it up? If you don't build it correctly. This is where Psalms, who has Psalms? Psalms 127? Yes. Who has Psalms? Read that.
Psalms 127, verse
127. Start at verse 1.
127.
Yeah, 127, right?
Yeah. Psalms 127. Start at verse 1.
Psalms 127. Except the Lord build the house.
It says, except the Lord build a house. Go ahead.
They labor in vain that build it.
You know what? I can build a house based on my knowledge, based on what I know about relationships, and based on what I know in a marriage, based on what I know in how to pay bills, based on what I know how to cook. I can clean. I can fix faucets. I can even do some electrical. I can build a house. I know how to inhabit a house. But if you can have all the knowledge you want and what you think you know on what it takes to maintain a house, and you can use your own rules, you can use your own blueprints, you can use your own measurements, your own dimensions, you can use your own structure. It says, but read it again.
Except the Lord build the house.
It says, but if the Most High don't be involved in the building of your house, read on.
They labor in vain that build it.
Everything you do will be in what?
Vain.
It will be in vain, brother. If you don't incorporate the Most High into everything that you're doing, in your construction, you're going to start over anyway. Because the Most High is not going to bless it. It's going to fall apart anyway. I know many men, myself included, through the fact of thinking that I knew what I was doing initially, prior to this knowledge, prior to this truth, built relationships, built my credit up, bought cars, bought houses, brand new, had kids, put the pictures up on the wall, the fish tank, the wall unit with the TV stand and the CDs and the music and the DVDs and the VHS tapes back then. Built it up. Decorated it. Put the rugs down. Refrigerator full of food. Linens all over the bed. Fine linens. Nice decor. It was decked out. But guess who wasn't there? Most I wasn't there. And guess what happened to it? The same thing happens to anybody that tries to build without the Most High.
That's right.
Same thing that anybody that doesn't understand the importance of incorporating the Most High in your plans, eventually you're going to realize I did this in vain. Eventually I'll realize, man, I did this for nothing. Because I did it based upon my own pride. I let my pride rule the design and rule the setup in the building and the structure. My pride built it up. And we know the scripture also says, before pride, come destruction. And a haughty look before what?
Fall.
Before a fall. It's just a matter of time. Everybody be teetering on, it's just a matter of time before I fail. When I try to do things my way, it's going to fail. You have to incorporate the Most High in how you build. This is as a nation of people and as an individual. I have to incorporate the Most High. You can do things, you are free to choose to do what you want in life. That's your choice. That doesn't mean or guarantee that it's going to work. And a lot of times, it's not until it fails are we open for restructuring. Are we open for rehabilitation? Usually it's not until I worked and walking through the mall, met a guy in the mall, his head was down. It was a Christ brother, walking with his head down in the mall. Stressing. I said, man, you all right, man? He was disconnected. He said, I'm trying to clear my mind. That's what he said, kind of shook it off and I'm just trying to clear my mind. I said, you trying to clear your mind? What happened? He said, man, I can't believe it. I said, well, feel free. Explain. I'm here, man. I'm listening. I can't believe what you did, man. Them wasn't even my kids. That's the first thing that came out of my mouth. Them wasn't even my kids.
It wasn't already happened.
Them wasn't even my kids. I put them in school. I paid for all their sports. I put them through private school. I took care of those kids like they were mine. Brother, frustrated, angry, hurt. Them wasn't even my kids. But I did everything like they was mine. And I was there. And I bought the house, and she left me. And she took the kids that I was taking care of. Double whammy. Well, you know what that is? There goes an opportunity. Let me help you make sense of what just happened to you. Let me help you make sense. And that's not to ridicule somebody. The scripture say, weep with them that weep, mourn with them that mourn. Yeah. That's not. I can understand where you're coming from. I can associate with the pain. I know what it feels like to raise kids that are not mine, and to put them in school, bathe them, feed them, clothe them, do all these things as if they're mine. I can relate to you. But let me show you why it failed. Let me show you why you're in this condition. Let me show you why you're long-faced right now. There's something you didn't include in the process. And there's somebody you didn't incorporate while you were building that house. Read it again.
Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it.
I'm gonna tell you, it's easy to see from the they say hindsight's 20/20. Looking back on the situation, I see it now. Why everything I did failed. My relationships failed. My households failed. All the things I built failed. I see it now. I didn't see it before. I didn't see it then. I thought I was following the American dream. You got the house, you got the car, you got the job, you got savings in the bank, you got money, you got good credit, you go on vacation, you get to pick and choose your days off, you get to lounge, you get to head out on the weekend, take the kids Disney World, living the American life, living that American dream, in the pursuit of happiness. But all too many times this happens all the time. And the Most High got his finger on it too. He makes sure that you thought you were about to go somewhere and be happy. Just when you thought you had it all figured out. Just when you thought you had it together.
Everything was looking good.
Everything was looking good.
Yeah.
Even your mom started bragging on you.
Oh, man.
You seen your brother lately?
No.
He's doing real good.
Yeah.
Your brother's, you need to talk to your brother. He got his stuff together. You still tripping. You still with them brothers getting your brain washed. Having other men tell you, you still at that funny church. You still with them Israelites. You need to talk to your brother. He got it together. He just bought a new house.
He just came through.
He just came. You need to talk to your brother. You see what your brother's doing. You need to take notes. Got your mama bragging. Everything's great. As you thought. And this is the reality check that the Most High has in store for each and every one of us, because each and every one of us are in the process of building. Some have, taken larger steps than others, and some of us are in an initial phase of building. Some are at the beginning stages of building, but it still covers all bases, no matter where you are, how far you are into your development and your life and your relationships and your marriages. And your particular house that you're trying to, your place of comfort that you're trying to build. Each and every one of us are trying to build something, because we're all individual buildings. But if I don't incorporate, that's why I don't get, well, I do get it, because some men don't see the importance of it. That's why you got to beg men to come to class and get to hear the word of the Lord.
Come.
That's why you got to beg and plead with men to actually listen to what they need to build their houses and for their houses to function. It's almost like, I guess they'll learn later. It's almost like, where the Most High said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I guess I gotta wait until, hopefully not, the Most High forbid, that somebody has to fail in order to open their eyes up, to let it be known, whatever it is that you're building, if the Most High is not behind it, it is destined and it will fail. Especially if you're an Israelite. Something's going to go wrong. This is why Michael Jordan had a $500 million divorce. This is why Tiger Woods, as blazing as he wants to be, had a $500 million divorce. This is why Robert Johnson, that used to own BET before Viacom bought it.
The owner of BET.
Yeah.
First billionaire.
One of the first black billionaires, Robert Johnson, had a $500 million divorce. This is why any black man, Hispanic, that thought he was was ready to go and ride off into the sunset with his wealth. Dr. Dre.
Come on, bro.
Now we had an argument, but brothers arguing about how much he lost on that. I don't know how much he lost, man.
We don't know.
We don't know, but we know he lost a lot.
I think
we won't prenup. We won't prenup.
100 million.
He lost 100 million.
I want to say 100 million.
Well, whatever the case may be, nobody, no matter where you are in your economic development or scale, you will suffer and you will feel it.
Yeah, because he's a little.
And you will lose. Because it's not made for you to just ignore the Most High and build without it. It's not made that way. War brings it out all the time. The children of Israel are servants to him.
It sounds like it's black and white. There is no gray. And anybody else that's making it, it goes back to that story about the devil who gives a kingdom to whomever he may.
Yes.
And he got it. He got them on some other purpose for whatever reason. But that's why they're making it without God's.
But and it may seem like they're making it, and they are.
Right.
But there's always
it has to be definitely.
There's always a plot twist. There's always a plot twist, especially when the Most High love you. Most High say chastise the ones he loves, especially when he love you.
Okay.
There's always a plot twist.
Oh, okay.
Tyson was 300 million strong.
That was crazy, bro.
Right.
Holyfield was 300 million strong.
Yeah.
A lot of these brothers were multi-millionaires, and they achieved what they thought was success as classified by the American dream. I thought I received success. I thought I received comfort. But there was something that I didn't include. Number one is that I didn't incorporate the Most High within the building process of what I was trying to develop. In the developmental phase of what I'm building, I didn't add the Most High, and I didn't even equivalate the Most High being involved in what I was building.
So it's not always the devil. It could be the Lord.
It's the Most High using the devil to set a person up.
Oh, okay.
One is good.
He plays chess with Satan. He plays chess with
okay.
I want to get another one, to get another one, to get another one.
Yeah. I'm about to fall down, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sleep one in there.
So, wow. So read it one more time so we understand where he's coming from.
God. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it.
Go ahead.
Except the Lord keep the city.
And unless the Most High is my protection, and the Most High is my strength, read on.
The watchman waketh, but in vain.
I wake it in vain, meaning it's going to be gone anyway. Even if I'm looking out and I've done everything possible to make sure that my stability was firm, and I was, crossing my T's and dotting my I's, and I made sure that I had backup, I had residual income coming in, and I had a additional savings, backup saving, emergency saving. The Most High said, man, all that is he'll wax all that and mush it all. I thought I had it all set up. You know what I'm saying? So what the Most High is showing is there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing in vain if we first of all don't bring in the Most High in our plans. You don't have the Most High in your plans, you're up for a rude awakening. Because that's what you waking in vain. Meaning I woke up in vain. Meaning it still got took. I still lost what I didn't want to lose. Read on, verse 2.
It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep.
See, but if you took me into consideration, you wouldn't be stressing so much. I'll make your life easier because you brought me into the equation. You incorporated me into your building process. So I made your life at peace because you put me first. And this is the first thing that we got to learn about this temple building, this house building, both being as an individual, also as a nation of people. So from there, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. So we understand that we are the building of the Most High. We're the Most High's husbandry. We're the Most High's building. We also understand that the Most High must be included in our building, in whatever we're building. Otherwise, it's going to be in vain. So now, just like any house that you build, it has to be financed by some bank.
Somebody got to back it up.
Somebody got to put the money up to make sure you got what you need to get this house built. So let's find out who financed this building. Mm-hmm. Read that right here.
God, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 reads, What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit?
Don't you know that your body is the what?
Temple of the Holy Spirit.
So if we're talking about physical house building, but it's bigger than that. What should be built before any physical building or attempts to build anything physical, you should be trying to build up what?
Holy Spirit.
You should be building up you.
Temple.
You're the building. You should be building up your knowledge. You should be building up your relationship with the Most High before you even pursue building anything physical. The first thing that should be built is, do I have enough, am I in accordance and in compliance with the Most High before I spark any endeavors, before I pursue any endeavors? Let me make sure that I'm using the Most High's knowledge in everything that I do and that the Most High is behind me. I got to make sure that this temple, my mind, is being built up. That's more important than me going to actually worried about credit, worried about trying to get a house. This needs to be built up. He said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I got to build my knowledge up. Read.
Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit?
This is what I got to sanctify. Read on.
Which is in you, which ye have of the Most High. And ye are not your own.
And you don't belong to you. Read on. You don't belong to you. Your body is a loaner. Read on.
For ye are bought with a price.
So, who financed you?
God. The Most High.
Who did?
The Most High.
Yahweh Shai.
No, Yahweh Shai did. He paid for you with what? His blood. He paid. You've been financed with blood.
It says you are bought with price.
You bought. That's the price that it took for you to be here. Just like any house that you get built, somebody got to put the money up. You don't get no house built for free. So what it costs for you to be here, somebody had to die for you to be here. The person that died for you to be here is Christ. Yahweh Shai paid the price. That's who financed your existence. Read.
For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify the Most High in your body.
It says, therefore, give him his glory in your what?
In your body.
Give him his honor. Give him his credit. Give him his praise. In your body and where else?
And in your spirit.
And in your spirit. So we owe this to the Most High. We owe this to Christ. both in our behavior and in our thoughts. We owe that to him. And so as we're building, go back to 1 Corinthians. Somebody read verse 11.
I didn't finish the end part of it.
No, go ahead and finish it.
Which are the Most Highs?
Go ahead. That's it. Which are the Most Highs, right? So somebody go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11 real quick.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 11.
Read that.
For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid.
And in this building process, the schematics, the blueprints that I'm using to build anything in my spirit. We're talking about house building, but initially, primarily, we're talking about spirit building. What does it take to get your spirit built up? It says, no other foundation can what?
No other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahushua.
Which is what?
Yahushua.
So that the financing was paid by Christ, and the foundation of what I build my house on is what?
Christ.
What is the purpose of me building this house? To glorify who?
Most High.
So the purpose of my existence, of why I'm here on this earth, is to bring glory back to Christ. Am I using my knowledge for that? Am I using my body for that? Am I using my thoughts for that? If my body and my mind both belong to Christ and he paid for it by blood, am I using it for its purpose? You got to consider that. I got to ask myself, am I using my knowledge to bring back more praise and to give more glory to Christ? Am I being used as that vessel? Am I using what I've been given on a loaner? This body is a loaner. The spirit is a loaner. Am I using this loaner to bring more praise back to the Most High in Christ? That should be the foundation of my existence. That should be my purpose for being here. That is the foundation. That's why Christ said this in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28.
What's that, Matthew what?
11 and 28. Read that. If you got it, you got it. If you no, just hold tight. Y'all, let him get it.
Okay. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28.
Yep.
Come unto me, all ye that labor.
And that's why Christ says, "Come unto me, that all ye that what?
All ye that labor."
Put your efforts towards who? No, Christ wants all your efforts. All you that labor. Our labor initially used to go to us. He says, "Come, bring your labor to me. Work for me. Put your energy towards me. Put your energy towards exalting and bringing praise and glory to my name, because I paid for you. Make that your existence. Make that the reason why you're alive, is to be a vessel to bring me more glory." That's why he said that. Read it again.
God. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden.
Go ahead.
And I will give you rest.
He says, "I'll give you rest if you work for me." Bring glory to me, not just your own self. Don't just go pursue glory and stability by yourself. Bring your efforts to me. He says, "And I'll give you rest." Read on.
Take my yoke upon you.
It says, "Take my yoke." Meaning, this is the reason why I go to work every day, is to bring glory to Christ. He says, take that responsibility on you. Read on.
And learn of me.
And learn of me. Read on.
For I am meek and lowly in heart.
It says, I am meek, lowly in heart. Read on.
And ye shall find rest unto your souls.
It says, and your souls will be at peace. You'll get the rest that you're looking for if you convert your efforts to me. If you convert your existence and your reason for living to work for me. If not, the Most High is going to blow on it anyway.
Guaranteed.
It's guaranteed, bro. So by us using Christ as the foundation and the principle and purpose of why we're here, to bring glory to the Most High in Christ, our lives become easier. The stress level reduces. The worrying diminishes. The doubt diminishes. The depression diminishes. The fears go away. But I have to make that conversion. I have to make Christ my reason for existing. That's the foundation that I stand on. Let that go and go back to, matter of fact, we read that in 1 Corinthians 3:11. Somebody give me Jeremiah 31 and verse 33. Because just like any house, you have a foundation, you have a budget, you got materials. What are the materials that I'm using to build this house? Jeremiah 31 and 33. Let's read that.
Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel.
Go ahead.
After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts.
He says, I'm going to put my law in their what?
Inward parts.
So if you're the temple of the Most High, what are the materials that you're supposed to be built with?
Law.
You're supposed to be built up with the laws of the Most High. This is the lumber. These are the 2x4s. These are the planks. This is the siding. This is the sheetrock. This is the material that you're being built up with in the spirit. You're being built with the laws. He said, I'm going to put my laws where?
In their inward parts.
Go ahead.
And write it in their hearts.
And write it where?
In their hearts.
I'm going to write it in their hearts. Now, why is that important that you build this temple or this house, this spiritual house, with the laws? Go to 1 Corinthians 3 and 17. Somebody get 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. Because we're all building something. It's just are you building with or without the Most High? Are you building with or without Christ? Read that.
Con. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 17 reads, If any man defile the temple of the Most High, him shall the Most High destroy. For the temple of the Most High is holy.
Why do you need the laws to structure the house?
For the temple of the Most High is holy.
Because the laws of the Most High keeps your building sacred. It keeps your building consecrated. That's what keeps the building pure. That's why it's necessary that you build your spiritual house with the laws and the commandments. It's what keeps you right. It's what keeps you clean. So you build with the laws because it's your purification and your sanctification. That's what keeps you holy. Read on.
For the temple of the Most High is holy.
So anything you build, it got to be holy. And if it's going to be holy, then it's got to be built with the laws. And this is why the Most High said, I'm going to put my laws in your heart. This is what the temple is going to be made out of. This is why it's so important that we adopt and study as often as we can. Because without the laws of the Most High, then I'm not making a holy vessel or a holy place, a holy sanctuary. Yes, sir.
Is that what it means when it says in Jeremiah 31:33, inward parts?
Yes.
Is it the heart?
It's the heart. Matter of fact, go to the definition of heart in the. Do you have the International Bible Encyclopedia?
It's in the office, I believe.
No, yeah. Grab that from me real quick. I want to get into this point real quick. Get the
Blue Letter Online has it too.
Yeah, the International Bible Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Get that one where it says heart. And I want you to get the if anybody got it on I don't know if they got it on their phone.
I have it on the phone.
You got the International Bible Encyclopedia? I mean International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. Yes. Get the fifth definition.
It says heart and mind.
Yes.
As the central organ in the body.
So it says the heart, of course, we know is the muscle. It's a central organ. Go ahead.
Forming a focus for its vital action.
It's the center of all your vitality. It's the center it's what spreads and dispenses blood to all your other organs, to all the other blood vessels, to every inch of your body, right? It's a very critical organ, right? Read on.
Forming a focus for its vital action.
Go ahead.
It has come to stand.
It said it has come to stand for what?
For the center of its moral.
It says it's the center of what?
Of its moral.
Of its moral. What else?
Spiritual.
Moral, spiritual. What else?
Intellectual life.
And intellectual life. So when you read about the heart, it's referring to how moral you are in your behavior, meaning how you make decisions. You know a person is furnished with the laws of the Most High based upon their decision making. Their decision making will tell you if they have morality that's based upon the laws of the Most High. Just look at their morals. Your morals is your ability to make good and bad decisions. Your morality is the central focus of your morality. What else?
Spiritual.
Spiritual and what else?
Intellectual life.
Your knowledge. That's what you possess in your mind. That's what makes up your knowledge. Is what's in your heart. Is what you put in your heart. So if you furnish your mind with the laws of the Most High, then you make the entire body about you spiritual. You make the entire body about you moral. So it's all about putting the best knowledge, the best intellectual knowledge of what raises me up as a person, what elevates me as a person. I got to feed myself with more knowledge, which enhances my morality, my spirituality, and my intellectual ability. When I increase myself with the laws, when I give my mind to the laws, that's the benefit. Now my heart is now becoming purified. So when we read about the heart, he's talking about the psychological aspect of mankind. A man's decision making, his psyche, your motivations, your intentions, your behavior. So I get to make an adjustment with that the more I make the laws my foundation. So now read on in heart.
In particular, the heart is the place in which the process of self-consciousness.
It says it's the place of what?
Is the place in which the process of self-consciousness.
It's how you process what?
Self-consciousness.
It's the place of where you look at yourself. It's the place where you value yourself, how you estimate your worth and how you estimate your value. Usually when somebody says, "Man, I'm just self-conscious," what does that mean?
They don't
look at themselves in a pure way.
They don't look at themselves in a pure way. That's somebody that, when I see myself, I don't see a good person. When I see myself, I see a loser. When I see myself, I see a failure. When I see myself, I see a mistake. When I see myself, I see somebody that can't get it right. I'm always making mistakes. I'm always messing up. I'm always doing dumb things. I can't get myself together. I can't get on my feet. I'm always coming from behind. I set myself back with the way I think. I'm always getting in trouble. I'm always doing dumb stuff. What is that person's estimation coming from?
From their self-conscious.
It's coming from their self-conscious. So then you got to ask yourself, if you feel this way, you got that depression, you got that low self-worth, low self-estimation, low self-value, you don't feel like you're equipped to do anything good, that you're able to do anything good, you feel like a continual failure, you're the biggest failure, biggest mistake. So when you estimate yourself to that degree, it's coming from some place. The place where it's coming from is the internal thought process of what you developed, or either you developed or you didn't develop. You failed to develop that part about you, because I didn't invest into that part about me. I didn't invest into that self-worth or that self-value or that self-esteem or that self-estimation. I didn't care about intellectually putting better knowledge in myself. I didn't care about studying. I didn't care about morality so much. I didn't care about spirituality. So now what am I left with? I'm left with a broken mentality and a broken self-esteem. Now I got low self-value, low self-worth. I don't feel like I'm worth anything, because I didn't invest into those things within myself that the Most High said you're supposed to be using the laws to do so. Yeah. You use the laws to enhance your spirituality. When you look at the definition of edification, edification comes from the word edifice. Edifice means to build up. What edification means is to build up morally, spiritually, and intellectually. So when I'm supposed to be using the scriptures as the tools necessary for the building process of my self-esteem. Otherwise, that inner man will always be of no value to me. When I see myself in the mirror, I see a failure. How many people do that? How many people look at themselves and they don't think themselves to be worth anything? Where are they failing at? What are they not doing? They're not building themselves up with the right knowledge, with the right information. They're using the world's estimation of their value. How much money you make, how cool you are, how accepted you are, what clothes you have on your body. Are you wearing name brands? What kind of car you drive? What kind of house you got? Where do you live at? What neighborhood you live at? What school you go to? How many kids you got? Your education level. People have their own scale of how they quantify self-worth and value. That's irrelevant to the Most High. What the Most High has been trying to do is instill something that can elevate the interior of a person. If I take the time to invest in my spirituality, scriptures, studying, my spiritual comprehension, class, asking questions, getting more information, taking notes. If I invest into that heart the right way, then my value of who I feel like I am increases. I have more to offer. I have something to give people. Yeah. I have something to share. I'm worth something. A lot of us, through mistakes, through failure, through condemnation of the devil, I let the devil condemn me. I let the devil get me back in a trap. Through so many different variations of failure, I let the devil tell me that I'm nothing. And that's what the devil tried to do to Christ. If thou be the Son of Man. Why is there an if? Why is there an if?
Right.
If thou be the Son of Man, the scriptures say it, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone, thy angel shall lift thee up. If you're the Son. Why is there an if? Yeah. Because he's trying to get him to doubt who he is. He's attacking that heart. He's attacking his mind. He's attacking that inner man. His perception of himself. All of us are going to have low estimation and low self-worth if we don't really start investing into that, what the scriptures in Hebrew call lahab, that heart. Yeah, that's how you say heart in Hebrew, lahab. I'm sorry. Labeya or laba. La'ab. I'm sorry, la'ab. It's that inner man. It's that heart. So if we don't invest into that heart, we're always going to be down and out, depressed, demoralized, insufficient, never good enough, always a failure, low self-esteem, low self-worth. I can't do nothing. I'm always broken. I always need help. I can never get on top. I'm always coming from behind. I'm handicapped. Man, there's nothing but misery waiting for you if you don't invest into your heart. So when we read about that heart, it's critical to know what builds the heart up or what tears it down. So read that part again. You had a question, Amiyathi?
Just a scripture.
Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon 6:18.
Go ahead.
And love is the keeping of her laws. And we're talking about laws. The keeping is a maintenance, a daily maintenance. So love is the keeping of her laws, and the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption. These are our benefits. This is our insurance. Is the insurance of incorruption.
So there has to be an investment, though. That's a great scripture. There has to be an investment. I like this. You're in verse 5, right?
Sorry. Ecclesiastes 6:18.
No. Let me get. I want to finish where he's at real quick. Give me that in where you're at, where it says.
In particular.
Yes.
In particular, the heart is the place in which the process of self-consciousness is carried out.
It says it is the place in which the process of self-consciousness is played out. It's how I look at myself and how I look at other people. It's the source of it is in the heart. Read on.
In which the soul is at home with itself.
It says in which the soul is what?
Is at home with itself.
You gotta listen to what he's saying. He says, within your heart, your self-conscious, is where you find that the soul is at home with what?
With itself.
With itself, meaning what?
It doesn't need anything else.
It's complete. Meaning
the heart and the soul
is congruent.
Right.
Meaning there is an agreement between the heart and the soul. Let me make it even more clear. If my heart and my soul are not congruent and they're not at home with each other, then what I am is disturbed. Then what I am is mentally disturbed.
Amen.
Because my soul is not congruent with my mind. There's a disconnection. So I'm mentally disturbed. I'm not at ease and I'm not at peace. But here's the more dangerous side of it. Go to that way, you can get this from me.
We done with 1 Corinthians?
Whole 1 Corinthians. Somebody go to 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 13.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 13. Whenever you're ready.
Let everybody get it.
You ready up?
Yep, go ahead.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 13. And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness.
Read on.
As they that count it pleasure to riot in the daytime.
So there's people that count it pleasure to riot in the daytime. All they care about is partying and pursuing the flesh and fun. Read on.
Spots they are and blemishes.
The Bible calls these individuals spots, and they call them blemishes. But these spots and these blemishes have influence. These spots and these blemishes that like to party and riot, they have an influence. But they have influence to who? Read on.
Sporting themselves with their own deceiving while they feast with you.
Go ahead.
Having eyes full of adultery.
Read on.
And that cannot cease from sin.
Go ahead.
Beguiling unstable souls.
What do?
Beguiling unstable souls.
There's people that will be around you that if your heart is not built up, if your soul is not at home with itself, in your mind, if your soul and your thoughts are not congruent, which is your heart, right? It says in which the soul is at home with itself. So if your soul is not at peace within yourself, and it's disturbed or it's broken or it's fractured, and the relationship between who you are and how you look at yourself is broken, and what your self-worth is, and if you're not built up with spiritual things, then you become prime bait. You become prime bait and a prime target for somebody else's influence. Meaning you're trick bait. You're set up to fail. Anybody can influence you. Anybody can invade you. Because you're not whole. Because your heart's not right. So you are a prime bait for being tricked. You're prime bait to be influenced. It says beguiling what?
Beguiling unstable souls.
So if there's any instability in my soul, then I'm setting myself up to be tricked by somebody else who has a stronger influence. All it takes for me is to be around somebody whose influence is stronger than mine, and I'll give in because I'm unstable.
Alright.
You know what? I'll take a quote, but not as lewd as what Donald Trump said. He said, "Unstable women make good love."
Well, the best love.
Trump said that.
Yeah,
he said that.
But I said that. I'll say that as he said that, but in a more lewd way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said that in a more lewd way. You know what he's saying?
Oh, I know what he's saying.
Crazy women make good love. What's something wrong with them? You know why? Because they can be manipulated. Anybody whose soul is not at peace, whose soul is not in harmony who's not built up with any morality. They're not built up with spirituality. They're not built up with the Most High's intellect. All it takes is somebody with a stronger influence to come by, and now they're following. They're not a leader anymore. They're followers now. Because I'm not stable within myself. So now, and this is why some people like to keep men spiritually demoralized, like pimps. A pimp breaks a woman, how?
Demoralizing.
He constantly demoralizes. Trick, B, get your stink, whatever. You ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Look at the words that a pimp will use. What is he attacking? He's going into that conscious of that person. He's attacking that consciousness. That inner man of where the value is at. Now, all he did was break her value. Now that I broke your value, I have what? I got control. I got influence. Now you got to get out there. You got to get out there and make it. You got to get out there and earn it. Because what did I do? I broke that person's value. See, when you built up in the Most High with the right knowledge, can't nobody break you. Nobody's influence is stronger than the Most High's influence. You're not susceptible to getting beguiled and tricked. You can't become a trick. Because you're at one with yourself. And I know who I am. And I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm here. I know what my job is. See, all that leads to me being stronger. Yes, sir.
I just have a scripture and a definition, if that's okay.
What you got?
2 Timothy 1:7. It says, "For the Most High hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind."
It says power, love, and a what?
And of a sound mind.
So all I got to do is attack that. I got to attack that what the Most High gave you.
And the definition of sound: entire, unbroken, not shaky, split, or defective.
It's not broken, defective. Man, all these things. Incoherent, incompetent, not broken, without strength. See, you got to build up that person that the Most High made you to be. You got to put the Most High within your structure. You got to incorporate the Most High in everything that you do. If you don't, there's a repercussion. There's always going to be an attack on your heart. There's always going to be an attack on your consciousness. Always. If you don't build yourself up. So he said, finish that definition right there. Great definition.
It says, in which the soul is at home with itself.
You're supposed to study to where the soul is at home with itself. Meaning the soul, which represents the appetites, the passions, the seat of emotions, is congruent with the way you think. I got my appetites in check. I have my impulses in check. I have control and dominion over my emotions, my impulses, because that's the soul represents that seat of passion or seat of emotion. I got control over it. It doesn't control me. But somebody that's broken, who hasn't put enough of the Most High within their mind, they'll fall victim to their passion. They'll fall victim to their feelings. They'll fall victim to their emotions. They'll fall victim to their impulses because they're not using the Most High to conquer the soul. Those feelings. Yes, sir.
Can I get a scripture on what you just said?
Come on.
It's Jude 1:19. It says, "These be they who separate themselves sensual, having not the Spirit."
Having not the what?
Having not the Spirit.
They say they separate themselves sensual. Great scripture. They separate themselves. They're sensual, meaning what?
They react to emotion.
They respond off feelings. Feelings govern their thought process, not wisdom. Not scriptures. Scriptures don't govern my thought process. Feelings. This is where you get a lot of people that say, well, I thought what I was thinking was this.
Yeah, all the time.
Well, what I was thinking that if I did this, then this should happen. Or I was thinking, well, what I told myself, well, based on how I felt. Because I felt a certain way, I responded because I felt a certain way. Well, a person that is governed by feelings emotions. This is a person that's sensual. They don't have any control or rule over themselves.
I, me, I feel.
This is, yeah, exactly. This
I, me, I feel.
This is why the scriptures say in Colossians 2:22, or is it 2:2? He says, "Taste not, touch not, handle not, for we all perish with the using." So this is why he said, don't taste it, don't touch it, don't handle it. Because when you give yourself to your feelings, your senses, your emotions, your thoughts, your impulses, your appetites, your cravings, you fail. It'll compromise what's right about you. And this is why it's so necessary that you be built up with scriptures. Read on.
Excuse me, what was that? We all perish by what?
With the using. Somebody get that. Colossians chapter 2. Is it 2 and 2? Is it Colossians 2 and 2? Or 2 and 22?
Yes, Colossians 2 and 22.
Read that.
Which are all to perish with the using.
Read up. 21.
21. Touch not, taste not, handle not.
That's why it says when you see something that compromises who you are, your well-being, it compromises your mind. It says don't even taste it, don't touch it, and don't handle it. Because you know what we do? We think that we can partake in something. Colossians 2 and 21 and 22. See, what we deceive ourselves and we tell ourselves how strong we are. I can go to the club and I can have only one drink. I have never been to the club and only had one drink. But I'll tell myself that. I'll tell myself I could be around certain people and not give in to what they're doing. I tell myself that. Because I listen to my feelings. I listen to my thoughts. I listen to my impulses. I can have a good time, but I know my limits. We tell ourselves that. But this is why the scripture says, taste not, touch not, handle not, for we perish with what?
We perish with the using.
It says as soon as you touch it, you're going to die. As soon as you taste it, you're going to die. As soon as you handle it, you're going to die. It's going to be the undoing of you. You're going to be broken. You're no longer whole. You're now compromised. You no longer have power and control over your reason, over your rationale. Because you let the flesh control what the Most High considered spiritual, what should have been sanctified, what should have been made holy. You let the flesh dictate that now. Now you're in the when you're under the control of the flesh, now Satan has the joystick. Satan's running you. You're not. The Most High is not running you. Satan got the joystick. He's controlling your movements. He's controlling your whereabouts. He's controlling your attitude. He's controlling your speech. He's controlling your behavior. I forfeited that. That's why it's so important that you build up that inner man. So, he said what?
Which are all to perish with the using.
Let that go and let's get back to that definition and finish that definition of the heart.
It says, in which the soul is at home with itself and is conscious of all its doing.
It says, and the soul is at home with itself and it's conscious of what?
Of all its doing.
What is the virtue that the Most High gave to where if you invest into this virtue, it'll enhance your consciousness in everything that you do? There's a word for it. What is that virtue? There's a lot of virtues to choose from. But what is that virtue in particular that the Most High provides you, that if you invest into it and you make a life of obtaining it, it'll make you aware of everything that you do?
Discipline?
Nope.
Confidence?
Nope.
Circumspect?
Yeah, circumspect is just means to be watchful or aware. But what's the virtue? What's the virtue behind being circumspect?
Prudence. Wisdom.
Somebody just said it.
Prudence.
Who said it?
Prudence.
Prudence.
Exactly. Get the definition of prudence.
Okay.
Hold that definition that you got in that.
It's like thoughtful of others, right?
Nope. Get the definition.
Prudence implies caution in deliberating and consulting on the most suitable means.
It says, what does it do?
Consulting on the most.
No, read it from the top.
God. Prudence implies caution in deliberating.
It says it implies caution In what?
In deliberating.
It provides caution in deliberating. So it's the preventative measure that lets you know, hey, don't touch that. It's the preventative measure that tells you, hey, don't taste that. It's what you possess inwardly that's within your mind. It dwells with you. It's at home with you in your mind, but it tells you that's dangerous. Hey, if you do that, Satan will have control over you now. If you touch that, if you taste that, you'll no longer have any power. You're going to forfeit your power and your control over your life. You're now going to be the trick. Your soul is going to be beguiled because this is going to make your soul unstable. It's the prudence that governs that. That's the virtue that if you don't have, you're in trouble. If you don't develop prudence, you're susceptible to any pimp of the flesh. Any pimp of the flesh is going to get you. Male or female. Because that's the only way Satan can attack, is through the flesh. He can't attack through the spirit. Scripture says Satan divided against Satan shall not stand. He can't be more spiritual and expect to deceive you. He has to trick you by a weakness, a vulnerability. What's weak in man is the flesh.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak. That's Satan's avenue. His avenue is through the flesh. Whether that be anger, whether that be frustration, especially anger. Anger is one of the utility belt, one of his weapons on his utility belt. He loves anger. He loves wrath. Because we read earlier, matter of fact, while I read it, it was James 1:20. He said, for wrath worketh not the righteousness of the Most High. Well, then if wrath doesn't work the righteousness of the Most High, then who does wrath satisfy? Satan.
Yeah.
So when you're angry, Satan loves it when you're angry.
He's smiling. Because
you know what the anger can fuel?
All types of stuff.
It can fuel the door to open for sin. I need a drink. I'm so mad, I need a drink. That's where it starts.
Right.
I'm so mad, I need a smoke.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated, I need a chill pill. Yeah. Ooh.
Who got a cigarette?
Yeah. I need to calm my nerves.
I need something physical.
So now,
and other people go running. They say, "Hey, I got one here. Let me go get one.
Let me help you out."
Yeah.
And now they come out everywhere. Man, you need to go out tonight.
Yeah. Just
let's
chill.
Let's go chill, man.
Yeah.
Let's go to the steak and scripts.
You go to the sports bar. Watch a game and eat some wings.
The other chicken strips.
Have a few drinks.
Twin Peaks. Yeah.
All those locals.
So let's go do that so that way and let's just see what the night brings us.
Let's see what the night brings us.
Yeah, you're gonna see what the night brings you, all right.
Damn near politically correct.
Yeah, the night's gonna bring you something.
Yeah.
But you know what? And you're gonna have no control over it because prudence wasn't there.
Right.
Prudence wasn't involved. See, prudence is that virtue that every man, if you underestimate the value of it, you pretty much open the door to your soul. Read the definition of prudence again.
Prudence implies caution.
It implies what?
Caution.
There's a caution that prudence provides. Read on.
Implies caution in deliberating.
Go ahead.
And consulting.
You deliberate when you make decisions. When you're thinking about what should I do because I'm bored, what's gonna keep you under control? Prudence. When you're like, oh man, I got a day off. Hey, I got time to kill. I got time today. What are we gonna do today? And you talking to yourself. You know what we're gonna do?
That's damn near like talking to the flesh.
You are talking. That's what I said. You are talking to the flesh. What are we gonna do today?
Yeah.
What are we gonna get into?
What are we gonna do today? Yeah.
Heart and soul separate again.
Because that he's showing the beginning of the unraveling of every man that underestimates the value of prudence. I just want to get something. Yes, sir. What you got?
Ecclesiasticus 10:1
Read that.
on that word prudence. Says, a wise judge will instruct his people. A definition for judge is a officer. Will instruct his people. He will counsel his people. And the government of a prudent man is well ordered. The conduct of a prudent man is well ordered. His priorities are straight.
Man, read that and break it down one more time, because it's something I want to bring out real quick.
It's Ecclesiastes 10:1. A wise judge will instruct his people. So a definition for judge in the 1828 is an officer. A wise officer will counsel his people based on the scriptures. And the government of a prudent man is well ordered. The conduct of a prudent man is well ordered. It means he got his priorities in check.
Meaning I got my priorities in check, meaning my feelings are in check. My emotions are in check. I just want to bring this out real quick. Let me find it real fast. Read this real quick, Dawiyat. You can read this for me. Hold on, let me get this real quick. Start it right here. But the number of such men is small, for virtue is not a thing frequently met within the race of men. I'm gonna read it one more time. This is in the virtues of Philo. He says, but the number of such men is small, for the virtue is not a thing frequently met with in the race of men. He's saying that only a few men actually possess good virtues. Only a few. He says it's not easy to find men that are heavily invested with virtues. That's not easy to find. Finish it up from here in line 11 and just read on down. Read all the way down.
Line 11 all the way down.
Yeah, stop right there. Sound state.
Come on.
Yeah, read that.
All right. But since no perfect antidote.
This is from Philo the Jew. This is in his book. He got a book called Virtues. Read on.
Or remedy can be found for the mutilation of the outward senses.
He said, read it one more time. Read it clear.
But since no perfect antidote or remedy can be found for the mutilation of the outward senses.
He says there's hardly any remedy to be found for the mutilation of the outward senses, meaning how to cut off your enticements, how to cut off your appetites, the things that you struggle with. When you tell yourself, man, I just need one more. One more. Well, who told you needed one more? Something has to be able to cut that off. He's saying that there's not many things to stop your flesh from conducting itself how it wants. Read on.
By which thousands and thousands of persons have died prematurely.
He said many people have died what?
Prematurely.
Yeah, people die overdose. How do they die overdose? Because they don't know when to stop. There's nothing that tells them that's enough. There's nothing to tell them, hey, that's too much. There's no limit.
Right.
He said thousands upon thousands of people, because they didn't have any prudence. It wasn't existing in them. They let themselves go overboard. That one more drink, just had one more drink, and that was the one that sent you off the side of the highway into a tree. Where was the prudence at?
Wasn't there.
It wasn't there. So he said thousands upon thousands of men, women failed because nothing prevented them from satisfying their appetites. Read on.
Died prematurely while still living.
He said, and you got some that died while they're still what?
Living.
While they're still alive. Meaning, if I don't have prudence, I'm a zombie. Meaning, I'm an animal to my flesh. I'm a dog. I'm a beast. Yeah, I'm a beast. Because all I care about is brains. I just want brains. I just gotta feed. I just want to eat. I'm impulsive. Meaning I'm insatiable. Nothing can satisfy me as long as I'm in the flesh.
Is that chapter 10:1?
No, this is in book,
The
follow
one
the
we
Jew.
just read. You talking about the scripture? we
Oh, the
just
scripture
read?
where it was Ecclesiastes 10 and 1.
10 and 1.
10 and 1.
But what is that? What that is?
No,
No,
this
he's
is from a
reading
different book called Follow the Jew, and this is he got a book called Virtue, but he's explaining
Okay.
what men are missing.
Okay.
Read on.
The best of all qualities.
He said what?
Says prudence.
It says prudence is what?
That best of all qualities.
He says, according to him, he said prudence is the what?
Best of all
Of
qualities.
all the qualities that you can possess as a man or a woman, he said you better develop some prudence. Prudence gives you that caution. It gives you the limitations. It gives you the notion to say, okay, that's enough. Cut the flesh off. You've done enough. You didn't feel whatever you've tried to do, done it. You've already fulfilled the lust of the flesh. Now it's time to cut the flesh off and be about the spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I no longer feed my flesh anymore. Prudence is what gives a man the power to cut the flesh off.
Okay.
And this is what caused many men to fail, many women to fail, because they didn't have that in them. They didn't possess it, so they lost their lives. And some people are dead men walking because they're still alive physically, but they're dead spiritually because they don't have any prudence.
Right.
He said it's one of the best virtues. Read.
It says within us, set itself against it to prevent it.
It says, go ahead.
Implanting eyes.
It says this is how powerful that prudence is. He says prudence is like having another set of eyes in your brain.
In our intellect.
He says setting another pair of eyes where?
In our intellect.
So the scripture says a wise man's eyes are where?
In his head.
In his head. That's what he's saying prudence is. Prudence is like taking your eyeballs, but not physical eyeballs, taking a set of spiritual eyeballs and implanting them to observe your thoughts.
Wow.
So if you don't have this, he said you're missing out. Because what you're failing to do is you have no other observer, nor do you have a limit, an examiner of your limitations. You have no more self-control. There's no more caution. That other set of eyeballs that he's talking about, prudence that provides, is what keeps you out of danger. It's a second opinion within your own mind. Man, maybe I shouldn't do this. Man, I know damn well I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be over here. I know I'm in the wrong place. How the hell I get over here? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I here with these people? Who the hell is she? You know what I'm saying? Read on.
It says, by reason of its sagacity.
It says by reason of its sagacity, because it's wise to put prudence in your mind, to decorate your house with prudence. Read on.
By reason of its sagacious capacity, are altogether and entirely superior in acuteness of the vision to the eyes of the body.
It says it's superior to the acuteness of the vision of the eyes of the body. Meaning prudence is another set of eyes that exist in your mind that's better than the eyes you got sticking out your head. It's better even than you trusting what you see. Prudence is that much better than your vision as a faculty, but it's spiritual. It's a spiritual virtue that he said many men don't possess. And this is why there's a lot of dead men walking, because many men don't care enough to lay that other set of eyes within themselves,
or to develop it,
so that it can give themselves restraints when they're overthrown by their physical eyes. Ooh, I gotta have it. Ooh, I gotta taste it. Ooh, I gotta feel it. Ooh, I want to know what it looked like. Ooh. Something's got to calm that and cut that off, man. Something has to mutilate those impulses, and that's what prudence does. It mutilates the impulses, and this is where a lot of men fail amongst. And this is not just men that are new. These are aged men don't always have prudence. It's how a lot of aged men get caught up. They never developed it. It was never one of the foundational elements within their spiritual house. If I'm building a spiritual house, then I'm supposed to be putting spiritual things in it. Prudence is one of them. Read on.
For these last see only the surfaces.
He said, but the physical eyes, the pupils, the cornea, the retina, the iris, he says they only see the what?
surfaces.
They only see the surface. You don't see the danger. You see what looks good. You see what tastes good. You see what sounds good. You see what's going to stimulate your flesh. You're going to get a rush. You're chasing a feeling. He says, but the prudence is another set of eyes that looks beyond what's appealing to you physically. It sees the danger behind the feeling. It sees the danger behind the emotion. It sees the danger behind the anger. Man, if I keep this anger up, I already know where this is going to send me. If I keep this thought up, I already know what I'm going to do. I'm about to lose it. Read on.
For these last see only the surfaces of things presented to them and require light.
It says your eyes require light, meaning it doesn't work too well in darkness, meaning it's very one-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? It really can't sustain itself. It needs light in order for it to do its job. Read on.
From without to enable them to do that.
Right. Read
But
on.
the intellect penetrates into
He says, but the intellect, what prudence does, it penetrates what?
Into the inmost recesses of the bodies, closely surveying and investigating the whole of them, and each separate part. Also the nature of those incorporeal things.
Incorporeal are the things unseen, meaning your prudence can see through the darkness. Your physical eyes can't see through the darkness. He's telling you that prudence in essence is like almost having X-ray spiritual vision, but to see danger. You can see danger through darkness where your physical eyes see joy and pleasure. That's what he's explaining. The incorporeal things are things not seen, that are not visible to me. Many men walk dumbfoundedly right into a trap. You know why? Because they was only thinking with one head. They was only thinking with their lust. You're a dummy if I walk through life, because I say dummy because I'm about to fall. That I'm about to fail. I don't even see the trap in front of me. I don't even see the snare. I don't even know the devil laid that down in front of me. I can't even see him laying it down. Man, the devil done put a trap up and I'm walking right to it. And I don't even see the danger. All I see is, man, we're going to have a good time tonight. You know how many times a good time ended on a bad note?
Don't I know?
You know how many times a good time ended with death?
Yeah.
Or some type of destruction or some type of loss of something? It always that's always Satan's trick. Is to not let you use your spiritual senses. Which is that virtue, prudence, that could provide a man that can see through the things that are not seen. He's explaining the depth of the power that you can possess inwardly without having to see the danger physically. I already know I can't be around those people because I know their influence on me. I already know I can't be with that woman. I know her influence. I already know I can't be with those people that provide me with the flesh toys and stimulants, because I already know where that's going to take me. What's giving you all this precaution? What's providing you this ability to see this before you even do it? Prudence, man. People sleep on prudence. Many untrained, non-spiritual individuals sleep on prudence. And they wonder how am I in jail? You beat her up. I didn't beat her up. I just shook her. No, you actually kidnapped her, beat her up, threw her in the car. I was drinking.
Oh, I let it go?
It's the alcohol, right? I didn't know. How did I wake up in the cooler? Because you killed somebody on the way home. Manslaughter. Woo. So, why? I didn't know. Because I wasn't rolling with what?
Prudence.
I wasn't rolling with prudence. You shot somebody by accident. Because you wasn't rolling with what?
Prudence.
Prudence, man. You set your own house on fire with a cigarette. You fell asleep. Because you wasn't rolling with what?
Prudence.
You didn't roll with. All these things are issues that could be prevented, but they're not. Because prudence wasn't there. I thought she was cool, man. She told me she was 18. Oh.
You didn't check thorough, huh?
She told you she was 18. Okay.
No kill switch.
15 to get you 20, right? That's what they say. Continue to get your 20, cause you wasn't rolling with no what? Cause you wasn't rolling with no prudence. You only saw the flesh, and there's danger waiting in plain sight if you got spiritual eyes. If you got prudence as a second pair of eyeballs in your mind, you can see the traps. No, that's Satan, man. He trying to get me, man. Satan almost got me. He's trying to catch me slipping. He's trying to get me. I see where this is going. Hey,
Get the hell out of there.
I got to get out of there, man. It say flee from sin as one that runs from a serpent. That means I got to see danger, man. That's what made Job so powerful. Job told Satan, hey, have you considered my servant Job an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Escheweth evil means he runs when he sees evil. That's what made Job so noticeable. When he see evil, he's out of there, man. I'm gone, man. This ain't for me. This club ain't for me. This place ain't for me. This party ain't for me. These people ain't for me. This is for y'all. Y'all enjoy, live it up. This ain't me, bro. Yes, sir.
You said Job told Satan.
I'm sorry. The Most High told Satan, have you considered my servant Job, one who is perfect, an upright man, one who feared God and escheweth evil? So, yeah, that Satan's always trying to test out your prudence, man.
Right.
But finish reading that right there.
It says those incorporeal things which the external senses.
It says the incorporeal things are the things unseen that are invisible, which the what?
Which the external senses are unable to contemplate at all.
Your taste buds can't see the unseen. Your eyeballs can't see the unseen. Your ability to hear can't see the unseen. Your ability to feel can't see the unseen.
Right.
There's only one thing that can give you long-range vision through the darkness.
Wow, that's the truth.
Go ahead.
It says that's it, bro.
That's it, right? So now he's showing. Get that, Ecclesiastes 3:25.
Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 25.
Yeah, finish it up right here. Keep reading on down. Read that. Ecclesiastes 3:25. Read that.
Ecclesiastes 3:25. Without eyes thou shalt want light.
It says, without eyes you will always want light. Meaning, when you can't see, you're always gonna need light to give you. Light brings darkness out of obscurity. So the only way to get past bringing something out of darkness or out of obscurity, you need light. So prudence gives you the ability to bring things out of obscurity without light. That's powerful. And that's what he's saying. You don't need light to activate prudence, but you need light to activate the eyes.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to stump your toe. You're like you walking through the house with no lights on. So it's only a matter of time before you hit something. Right. Ah! You break that damn toe down. Yeah, then you hit the corner of the bed. You're like, ah!
Oh, that's the worst.
You like in the dark, but use your imagination.
Because you know what? Your physical eyes, in order for your instrument, your eyeballs being that instrument to see, you needed light to make the darkness to bring the darkness out of obscurity.
Right.
If prudence, you don't need that. You know what prudence will tell me? Don't walk around the house in the dark. Let me cut a light on. That's what prudence will tell me.
Word.
But read that right there. Finish that right there.
For the mind may almost.
It says, for the mind. Go ahead.
May almost be said to possess all the acuteness of vision of the eye.
It says, for the mind can be said, if you possess prudence, it could be said that your mind possesses vision. He says that's how powerful prudence is. As an instrument needed in order to decorate the spiritual house that the Most High is working with you through. You're supposed to be adding this to your spiritual house. Read on.
Without being in need of any spurious light, but being in itself a star. And as
he says, prudence is so bright, even though it can see in through darkness, it's almost like a star. Meaning it can shine through darkness. Read on.
And as it were a sort of representation or copy of the heavenly bodies. Wow.
It's like he said, it's almost like a copy of the heavenly bodies, of having a star map within your mind.
What
Yes.
book is that?
This is Philo the Jew.
Exactly. I was going to get that too.
Follow the
Follow the Jew. Who wrote that?
Follow the Jew. Yes.
So is that why they pay like these quote unquote seers, because they mimic like this virtue of prudence, like they can
Right, we go-
pay someone to see for them.
Yeah, we go to an astrologer, we go to a
Right.
palm reader, we go to a necromancer, we go to the herbaleria, we go to somebody that's going to throw bones, read tarot cards, because we're trying to get somebody to access what we can't see when you don't need them.
Exactly.
All you need is prudence, which is a virtue that most men underestimate. He says, which is it can be said that it's like having a star in your mind. Like it's that bright, it can pierce darkness. That's the power of that prudence. Yes, sir.
Is that what it's talking about in Isaiah 59:9?
Prognosticator.
Yeah, when it says what?
That we wait for light, but behold obscurity for brightness.
Yep. He
Is that
says
what it's talking about?
it's, we want to see things, but we're limited because your ability to see, if you're only using your two eyeballs, you'll always be limited in what you're able to see in your capacity. There's only one thing that can give you that ability to see further than your physical eyeballs, and that power comes from that prudence. Now, when you use these virtues in combination, like Voltron, when you use the virtues of the Most High, somebody give me Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8 real quick and read that in verse
6.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Who's the author of that? Follow the Jew.
Follow.
Spell his
Who?
name, please.
Philo. Philo.
Oh, that's his name.
Mhm.
Follow. Oh, follow the Jew. That's
Like
his
Philip,
name. Okay.
but Philo.
Yeah.
Philo.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8. Start at verse
That was follow the Jew. Follow the Jew.
start at verse start at verse 6.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 6, page 62. It says, and if prudence work,
If you let prudence do its job, or if you take the time to accumulate prudence, study so you can receive that invisible set of eyes within your mind that helps you not give in to danger. If you develop that ability, read. It said, if you let prudence work, read on.
who of all that are is a more cunning workman than she?
It says, who is a more cunning workman than prudence? He's telling you how valuable prudence is to have. Read on.
And if a man love righteousness,
And if you care about righteousness, read on.
her labors are virtue.
You're going to labor, meaning I'm going to study my butt off until I possess these virtues. That means I'm going to become a non-stop student of the Bible until the Most High gives me the spirit of prudence. Until He gives me the spirit that these virtues that I'm asking for. That you'll never get by no optometrist.
Come.
And that no contact lenses or glasses or whatever is ever going to give you. I don't give a damn what the hell the society make. They can't make glasses that see danger.
It's like a sixth sense.
It is. It's an intuition, but it's an ability to prevent you from harm. He said, but this is how powerful prudence is. He says, if you labor for it, meaning you can work to get prudence. You just got to put the work in. You got to study. You got to study to gain the Most High's apprehension in life, His precautionary measures. You gotta study enough to develop the Most High's judgment. Meaning, I gotta share how the Most High looks at things. I gotta share the Most High's mind. So because He said it's dangerous, I know it's dangerous. There's no need for me to go any further. Also, He's going to show you the power when you use these virtues in conjunction with one another. Read that right there.
For she teacheth temperance and prudence.
She teaches what?
Temperance and prudence.
Go ahead. What else?
Justice.
What else is another virtue that you can possess?
Justice.
Go, read on.
And fortitude.
And what else is another virtue you can possess?
Fortitude.
You need to be building your spiritual house with these virtues. Justice, fortitude, temperance. What else?
It says, which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
Oh, wait a minute.
Nothing more valuable.
A good job.
Can have nothing more profitable in their life.
A good credit score.
Can have nothing more profitable in their life.
A good degree from a school.
As men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
A whole lot of children.
As men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
Good wife.
As men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
Classic cars.
As men can have nothing more profitable in their life.
What's some of the most important things a man can accumulate in his lifetime? Prudence, temperance, fortitude, justice. Go ahead.
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
It says, if a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old.
It says, hold on. Let me finish this too, because we're gonna finish this point. What happens if I use all these things in conjunction? Finish this right here. Finish that. We're going back to that. Follow the Jew. Give me that line 31. Read that right there. Therefore, the lawgiver.
Line 31. Therefore, our lawgiver.
Hold on, hold on 1 second. Write this down. It says, therefore, our lawgiver. Right? Go ahead.
Does not think it proper to include those men or any in a similar condition.
What he's saying is he's referencing Deuteronomy chapter 20, when the Most High would have the officers and the judges and the priests counsel the young men before they go to war. Mm-hmm. You know, they would give them a speech and they would address the man, and then based upon the status of the men and where their mind was, they would either allow them to go to war or they'd keep them at home. Mm-hmm. Of course, being if he just planted a vineyard, he just married a wife, or he just got a house and he hadn't established it yet.
Yeah.
He hadn't dedicated the house. Or if he was just afraid, just a faint-hearted person, you had to get him out of there. So those were criteria to single out men that wasn't fit for battle. But let's now pick up where he's at so you understand where he's coming from. Read that again.
Therefore our lawgiver does not think it proper to include those men or any in a similar condition in the role of his soldiers.
He said a man that don't have no ability to put his mind and his heart on the battle, and his mind is distracted and is compromised with his house and the affairs of his house and his life, get him out of there. He can't go to war. Read.
But only such as have no domestic.
He says, but only men that's fit for war is only such that have no domestic what?
Have no domestic circumstances.
They ain't got nothing pulling on. I don't have nothing pulling on me. My mind is free to go to war because there's nothing pulling on my mind. Read.
Of such a nature to detain them, in order that with free and unembarrassed inclinations they may engage in their pursuit of danger without shrinking.
Without what?
Shrinking.
It says they can encounter danger without shrinking, meaning they don't get weak and get afraid and get shook. Read on.
For as a weak or a crippled body derives no advantage from the pathway of armor.
He's saying what? He's saying, let me get down to the point.
In the word wrong.
Yeah.
Panoply.
He's talking about the heaviness of the armor. Yeah, go ahead and read 32 right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read it right here. It says, and our lawgiver, having regard of these facts, selects not only the captains and the generals and other leaders of the army, but also picks out separately each individual soldier, examines in what state he is in respect of good condition of body and firmness of mind. So they handpicked each soldier to see if his body was good and to see how strong his mind was. Those were criteria for war. You can't have a weak mind or a distracted mind or a compromised mind that's thinking about domestic life, and your body's got to be suited for war. He's saying, examining his body to see if it is uninjured in all its parts and sound health, and in all its joints and limbs well adapted for the positions and actions which may be required of it. Now, that's the physical side. Now, the mental side. Examining the soul also to see whether it is full of confidence, proper courage, whether it is intrepid. Somebody get the definition of intrepid. Whether it is intrepid, fearless, and inspired with a noble spirit. Get the definition of intrepid.
Literally, not trembling or shaking with fear.
He said they went through the army and they picked out every man that wasn't trembling or shaking with fear. That man possessed an intrepid spirit. He wasn't just, oh, we about to go to battle. Oh, man. Man, get him out of there.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. That's karate, right? Well, basketball court out.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. So he says, whether it is full of confidence and proper courage, whether it is intrepid, fearless, inspired with a noble spirit, whether it is eager for honor and inclined to prefer death with glory to an inglorious life. For each one of these qualities and circumstances is individually a separate power. So what he's saying is, courage is a virtue, but that's a separate power. Fortitude is in the line of courage, but not exactly as courage, but that's a separate power. Justice is a separate power. Prudence is a separate power. Temperance is a separate power. Patience is a virtue, but it's a separate power. He's saying that you have to go through life trying to accumulate coins like a video game, like Pac-Man's trying to eat up cherries and watermelons. You got to go through life trying to accumulate all the different virtues that you can, because they make you a sound person spiritually. So he says, for each one of these qualities and circumstances is individually a separate power if one is to say the plain truth. Now here's what happens when you read verse 8 again in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8 and read verse 7 again. 7.
I got you. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8 verse 7. It says, and if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude.
All these are separate virtues, separate powers. But he says right here, and if they all are united together in one individual, meaning if you collect all the infinity stones, if they are all united together in one individual, then they do most abundantly exhibit a certain invincibility, or a certain invincible and irresistible might, subduing all their enemies without loss. So what he's saying is, for you to be able to engage and defeat all in every battle that comes your way, your objective should be to acquire all the possible virtues you can. You should be digging through the scriptures to find fortitude. You should be digging through the Bible to find justice and temperance and patience. And he said, there's one more. He said, justice, temperance, fortitude. No, most importantly, prudence. He says you obtain somewhat of an invincibility, and you almost become retarded to failure and to danger. Not that you're afraid, but the fact that your confidence is there. All these virtues build your courage up. They build the inner man up. They build your self-esteem up. Now go back and finish that definition of heart.
Come. They build that house up.
They build that spiritual house up.
Right.
As the central organ in the body. Start from there.
Okay. It says, as the central organ in the body, forming a focus for its vital action. It has come to stand for the center of its moral, spiritual, intellectual life. In particular, the heart is the place in which the process of self-consciousness is carried out.
That's how you elevate your self-consciousness, your self-awareness. That's what gives you the notion that the Most High is with you at all times. That's what keeps you from being afraid and shook all the time. Read on.
In which the soul is at home with itself.
That's what keeps you intrepid, not shaken. Go ahead.
And is conscious of all it's doing.
Because that prudence is available. And that's what makes you conscious at all your doings. Because you got virtues on tap.
It's not the spirit where you said this spirit's disconnected for us. The spirit or the soul and the mind aren't congruent. They don't go together.
Right, meaning my mind doesn't control my soul, which is the seat of my passions, my appetites, my emotions. Meaning my flesh controls me, not my mind. I'm a slave to the flesh at this point. But he said, if I possess these virtues, then now there's stability within me as a person. Now I'm not walking around depressed or fractured, or I'm always angry, I'm always bitter, I'm always emotional, because all those are fleshly things. Those things don't control me. I'm not ruled by emotion. I'm not ruled by what somebody told me and how they made me feel. I'm not governed by that. I'm not governed by how somebody else they told me this, so they made me feel bad. That doesn't govern my mind. That doesn't rule my mind. This is the difference between fractured people and unfractured people. Fractured people don't have virtues or enough of them. Unfractured people they possess and acquire as many and as often as they can all the virtues that's available in the Bible. And they make that their lifelong pursuit. And that's what keeps them unbroken and are unable to be beguiled. Meaning that keeps them from being tricked. Because I'm confident. Now I have courage. Satan can't use no tactic against me. That's where my courage lies. He's going to prove it. Read on.
And is conscious of all its doing and suffering as its own. Hence, it is that men of courage...
It says, oh, wait a minute. If I possess these virtues, and I'm at peace with myself, and I got my flesh under control through the virtues that I possess, then I become a man of what?
Of courage.
It said, then I become a man of courage. Now I'm not afraid of nothing. I'm not tripping on something. Yeah. And before we end this class, we got to detail the difference of what, because we're reading to follow what he considers courage and what's not courage. So we just got to make that distinguishable difference.
Good one, because you just explained it's not necessarily something physical, like I'm not scared to fight him, or it's something spiritual to courage.
Right.
Courage.
It's the possession and the accumulation of all those virtues combined.
Wow.
Gives me courage, man. Where I can defeat any battle.
It's a combination of different skill sets, of righteous skill sets. To make a person invincible spiritually.
And read this right here.
Gotcha.
Just line 1 and 2.
Line 1 and 2. Having previously said all that appeared to be necessary without justice, and those precepts which are closely connected with it, I now proceed in regular order to speak of courage.
Now he's going to speak on courage, because even some of us got the wrong definition of courage. Read on.
Not meaning by courage that warlike and frantic delirium.
Like, I'm about to kill somebody. I want to kill somebody. Who? How I want to kill somebody. Who? How I want to kill somebody. That's what they do in the military. They hype you up. He said, that ain't courage. Being hyped up because you want to, I can't wait to, cut some heads off. That's not real courage.
Right.
I can't wait to just get my thumbs and just get on somebody's esophagus and squeeze it and watch their eyeballs roll back. Man, that's craziness, man.
That's what I thought courage was, something physical like that.
No, man, he said that's not courage. Go ahead.
Not meaning by courage that warlike or frantic delirium, under the influence of passion as its counselor.
Meaning I'm driven by passion. I can't wait to spill some blood on the battlefield. He said that ain't courage. Go ahead.
Which the generality of men take forward.
He says some men look at that and say, man, that's a courageous man. He's not afraid to go to war. Look how ready he is to battle. He can't wait to spill some blood. That's not, he said most people look at that as courage. Read on.
But knowledge.
He says, but knowledge, go ahead.
For some reason, some persons being elated by boldness when they have bodily strength.
It says just because somebody's strong and they made themselves fit for battle, and I made myself a weapon, and I trained for this like the Roman soldiers, like a Roman gladiator. He said that don't make you courageous because you strengthen your body because you ready for war. That doesn't make you courageous. You just became conditioned, but that doesn't make you courageous. Just because you prepared your body for battle doesn't make you courageous. Read. He's going to explain. Go
when
ahead.
they have bodily strength to assist them.
Go ahead.
Array themselves in the ranks of war.
He says, and they put themselves in the ranks of war. They put themselves as the top dogs, the captains in battle. Read on.
In complete armor.
And they full of armor. Go ahead.
And slay innumerable hosts.
And they just become a killing machine. That doesn't make them courageous. Go ahead.
Of the enemy to a man.
Go ahead.
Gaining by their exploits an unseemly but fine sounding name of preeminent valor.
They sound like a hero.
Wow. Yeah.
They make themselves a hero on the battlefield. Go ahead.
Being accountable by the multitude which judges of such matters exceedingly glorious in their victory.
People applaud people that go all out on the battlefield like that. He just went crazy. He became a killing machine on the battlefield. Read.
Though in fact they have been savage and brutal both in nature and practice.
He says, but the real truth is, that person wasn't courageous. That person was just cuckoo. That person was just a savage. He was going to be that way anyway, whether he was on the battlefield or not. He wanted to kill somebody. The battlefield was just an excuse. That's not courage.
It's not natural, like he said.
Yeah, it's not natural. Man, I was gonna kill somebody anyway. I'm just gonna use this opportunity to,
right,
and now become a hero behind it, and get paid, and get honor behind it, and dignity behind it also. He said that's not courage. That person was read on.
Having thirsted for human blood.
They just were thirsting for what?
Human blood.
But here's the opposite to it. Here's the other side of it. Go ahead.
But then, as some men who, always remaining in their own house.
He said, but the difference is this. There's some men that aren't just war crazy. They're not just training themselves just to go slay somebody. He says they remain themselves pretty much at home. Read.
While their bodies have been worn away.
And their bodies aren't that strong. Their bodies aren't the supreme, at top-notch physique for battle. Go ahead.
By long sickness or by painful age.
Go ahead.
Still being healthy and vigorous.
He says, but where they're healthy at is not necessarily that their body is strong, because their body's withered down. They've done a lot of labor. He said, but where they're healthy at is where?
Being healthy and vigorous in the better part of their soul.
It says, but their soul is strong. So although their body may be a little broken, he said, but they got a strong what?
Soul.
They got a strong soul. What gives you a strong soul?
Those virtues.
Those virtues give you a strong soul. Go ahead.
And being full of high thoughts.
It says, and they're full of high thoughts, meaning they're positive. They know how to keep a positive mind. Even though they may feel like they're ill-equipped physically, but they got a positive mind. Go ahead. They got a willing mind.
And inspired with a braver and happier fortitude.
And wait a minute. There's fortitude again. There's that word fortitude. They're inspired by that virtue. That shows you that those virtues give you power. Go ahead.
Never. Not even in their dreams.
It says not even in their dreams. Go ahead.
Meddling with warlike weapons.
They weren't even thinking about flipping swords and using maces and clubs and axes and hammers. Daggers, knives. They weren't even thinking about that. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, by their exposition.
Go ahead.
And advocacy.
Go ahead.
Of wise counsels.
But they use wise counsels. Go ahead.
For the common advantage.
Go ahead.
Have often, oh come on man. Have often reestablished.
It says has often done what?
Reestablished.
Has often reestablished what?
Both the private affairs of individuals.
Go ahead.
And the common prosperity of their country.
It says, but what they cared about, and what they cared about more than even their own comfort or their own inability to be able to go to war. He says, but what gave them the motivation to fight is that they looked at the condition of their people. My people need me. And because my people need me, that's all that I need to know for me to give me the strength to get through this battle. Because I'm not here for me to be a hero. That's not courage. He's saying it's when I didn't expect this, but I look at the condition of the people around me, and I need to fight for them because they need me also. And I'm gonna use all my strength for the whatever I do have and possess to their advantage. It's unselfish. It has nothing to do with me pertaining to getting some type of glory. The glory is for my people.
No self-insertion.
There's no self-insertion. I'm not doing this for no self-gain. I do this for I'm about to engage in this battle, as broken as I am, just for the fact that my people need me. Not to be no hero. See, that's real courage, man. Because that means you'll incur anything, even when it's at your disadvantage, because you care enough about your people. And that's what distinguishes courageous men. Why am I doing it? Who am I doing it for? Go ahead.
The common prosperity of their country when it is in danger.
He says, I care about the common prosperity of my country when it's in danger, not about my own personal prosperity. And it really doesn't do me any good to fight this battle because I'm not ready for it. And I'm really not equipped. But my mind is ready. That's courage.
It's at home with his heart.
He's at home, he's at peace with himself.
Which gives him all the other attributes.
Which gives it, because he pursues those attributes that enriches my power, my strength.
Right.
There are certain virtues that enrich me. But even though I get this enrichment and I get this courage and I develop this ability to not be afraid, that intrepidness, I still look back and say, man, my people need me, man. So I'm going to lay it on the line for my people. There's no personal gain in it whatsoever. I care about my nation.
Right.
And so I'll jeopardize myself in any capacity for my nation. He said, that's courage, man.
A little bit more into that.
Go ahead.
Putting forth unyielding and inflexible reasonings concerning what has been fully expedient. So basically this person has high thoughts and they're putting together different counsels, different reasonings, different concepts for the benefit of the nation. They're solving the nation's problems.
They're solving the nation's problems, man. And they're willing to undergo whatever duress necessary. He said that's courage. So, yes.
I was wondering if I could get 2 scriptures on that by chance.
Go ahead, because we're about to cut it right now. Go ahead.
So Psalms 94 and Psalms chapter 94 and verse 16. It says, "Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?"
Right.
So it's asking who's going to rise up who's basically going to be willing to take a stand, be willing to fight.
Who's going to develop themselves and put themselves in a posture where they're going to condition themselves to fight for their people.
And that's what the second verse goes into as well. It's 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 4. It says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal." That's not something tangible that we decide to fight our battles with. It says, "But mighty," that's that courageousness, "through the Most High, to the pulling down of strongholds." Those strongholds are those virtues that we're adding to ourselves, that we're continuing to build so that we can fight this for our people.
Right. The strongholds is what I used to tell myself before. What I used to tell myself why I shouldn't fight. Because nobody cares. Nobody loves me. I'm a loser. I'm a nobody. I got to pull them strongholds down. The weakness within that inner man needs to be pulled down. The lies that he tells himself. I'm of no value. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. All that has to get pulled down. Then that man is free to exhibit whatever demonstration he needs to show the Most High that, hey, man, I'm in this for my people. But he got to remove them strongholds. But the way I do that is by manifesting those virtues. So those virtues are critical. But they're free. And that's the beauty of those virtues. They're free. You know what they require? Just a little bit of study and a little bit of your time. All them virtues in the Bible are free. And you can get them at your disposal. And you can have them in abundance. That's why the Most High told, or Moses told Joshua, read Joshua 1 and 8. Read that. Read verse 7 and 8. Joshua chapter 1, verse 7 and 8.
Joshua chapter 1 and verse 7. "Only be thou strong and very courageous."
That's why the Most High, Moses told Joshua, He said, only be thou strong. Go ahead.
And very courageous.
He said, man, that's all you need, man. So how do you get strong and courageous? You develop those virtues. And they'll yield that type of strength that you need. He said, that's all you need to be a leader. He said, only be thou strong and very courageous. Read on.
That thou mayest observe to do according to all the law.
Just make sure you're in compliance with all the law, which you're supposed to be furnishing your house with, the laws, because it keeps you blameless and holy. Read on.
Which Moses, my servant, commanded thee.
Go ahead.
Turn not from it to the right
He
hand.
says, don't use any excuse to deviate from the laws of the Most High. Don't turn from the right. Go ahead.
Or to the left.
Don't turn from the left. Don't deviate from the laws and the commandments of the Most High. Don't deviate from His commandments. It's actually part of the house that you're trying to build. You need them walls put up. The laws keep your house safe and holy and sanctified and cleansed. Don't live without these laws. Go ahead.
That thou mayest prosper.
It said, and from it you'll do what?
That thou mayest prosper.
You'll prosper, and what else?
Whithersoever thou goest.
He said, everywhere you go, you'll prosper if you take this mind frame with you. That means the power of the Most High isn't in one place. It walks with you. It goes with you. And the strength of the Most High goes before you. The protection of the Most High goes before you. Because you're using His prudence. You're using His knowledge. You're using His judgment. His discernment. Read.
This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth.
That's why in order to establish these virtues, you have to keep studying this book of the law. You've got to keep your mind buried in the Bible. But the virtues come free. Read.
But thou shalt meditate therein day and night.
He's giving you the secrets to gaining the virtues. You meditate therein what?
Day and night.
He's giving you the secrets. It takes constant meditation, and next thing you know, you look up. Here comes one virtue. Here comes another virtue. Here comes another virtue. And then when you use those virtues in conjunction, you become, in essence, there's some invincibility there. Go ahead.
That thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein.
Go ahead.
For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous.
What else?
And then thou shalt have good success.
It says, then thou shalt have good success. So the success and the prosperity comes from you meditating on the words of the Most High, which enriches you, which gives you certain virtues you would have never possessed before, but makes you strong to all things. Last verse, 2 Timothy 3:17.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 17. Whenever you're ready.
Read that.
It says, that the man of the Most High may be perfect.
And that's what makes you perfect. Not that you'll never be without sin, but it makes you aware of your sins. One of the definitions of perfect means to be conscious of your mistakes. What makes you conscious of your mistakes? Your prudence. Read.
Thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
He says thoroughly furnished unto what?
All good works.
He says you'll be completely furnished unto all good works. One more right here. One more right here. That way I read this. Read this real quick. Read this right here. He said, if you solidify your mind, strengthen your heart. He says you'll be thoroughly furnished unto all good works. You'll be ready to do whatever the Most High wants you to do. But you gotta invest into your heart. You gotta invest into that spiritual, intellectual, and moral part of you that excels your behavior, that uplifts your conversation, that excels your position and your rank. Read this right here. And as for the conscience.
And as for conscience, which I call the conserver of religion.
King James says that the conscience, he calls it the what?
Conserver of religion.
It's what keeps you in your religion. It's what keeps you religious. What keeps you religious is what you invest in here. That's what keeps you on top of yourself. He says your conscience, if you invest into your conscience, he says he calls it the preserver of what?
Of the conserver of religion.
The conserver of religion. Go ahead.
it is nothing else but the light of knowledge that the Most High hath planted in man.
He says it's the light of knowledge. The way you get it is by allowing the Most High to plant His knowledge in you. Go ahead.
Which, ever watching over all his actions.
He says, and the conscience, it ever watches over all your actions. Go ahead. So your conscience is always witness to your behavior. It's always a witness to you. It's always a witness to everything you do. Even if nobody was a witness, who was the witness? Your conscience is the witness.
Maybe that is the witness that's talked about.
That's what Paul said, I say the truth in God, I lie not. My conscience also bearing witness. And I have continual sorrow and heaviness for my people. So he said, man, he said, I know, for the fact that I know better, that's enough to keep me straight. He said, my conscience always bears me witness. Read on.
As it beareth him a joyful testimony.
He says, and if you do right, he says, the fruit of a positive conscience or a clean conscience is a positive testimony. Go ahead.
When he does right, so choppeth.
But if you do wrong, he says your conscience will do what?
Choppeth.
It's going to chop you. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
No, I was just going to ask, with that, it reminds me of integrity.
Yes.
Is that about the same thing?
Right, keeping the original state. Meaning I don't allow anything to persuade me out of what I know is right. I keep my original state, my purest state. Integrity is when you keep an unchanged, impure state. Not impure, but pure state. It's untainted. I don't let anything compromise what I'm doing for the Most High in my decisions. He's saying, but when you know you did wrong, he said the way the Most High set up the conscience, he said it'll cut you because you know better. You know you did wrong. So he said your conscience will either celebrate your actions and be a testimony to your good behavior, or your own conscience will become your own enemy. It'll become your worst enemy.
I've been there.
And it'll rob you of confidence. It'll rob you of courage. And how do you allow yourself to be robbed of courage? You don't possess no virtue. You give in. You're like a city broken down without walls. You have no defense whatsoever. Read on.
It says, so choppeth it him with a feeling that he hath done wrong.
What is that feeling that you know when you did wrong?
Remorse.
That's guilt.
Yeah.
The conscience is the first thing that lets you know I've been wrong. Your conscience will let you know you're wrong before anybody else. That this is wrong. Go ahead.
Whenever he committeth any sin. And surely, although his conscience be a great torture to the wicked.
He said that if you're wicked, he says the conscience becomes even that much more an enemy to you. Go ahead.
Yet is it a great comfort to the godly.
So the Most High made the conscience to where if you're doing right, you'll be at peace. Your soul will be at peace. But if you're doing wrong, it's going to constantly condemn you and remind you of how guilty you are until you get right.
It'll torment you.
It'll torment you. So he's showing the value of keeping a good conscience and keeping your mind pure, keeping your mind untainted.
Oh, the hands clean.
Yep. Clean hands make a man stronger and stronger.
There you go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
If we will consider it rightly.
He said, if you think about the conscience the right way, of what the Most High gave you naturally. When you were born with the conscience. If you look at it, unless you're a maniac, but if you look at it, go ahead.
For we have not a great advantage that have within ourselves while we live here a count book.
He says if you look at the conscience and you judge it correctly, he says the conscience is like a journal of all your actions. And it's either going to testify of everything you do right, or it's going to testify of everything you do wrong. He said the conscience is a register or a log that keeps track of all your actions. Read on.
An inventory of all the crimes.
It says it's an inventory of all the what?
All the crimes.
Your conscience will keep inventory of all your crimes. And a lot of times, this is what be plaguing brothers. Their conscience is tormented. Because you know what? That conscience has kept an inventory of all their crimes. Read on.
That we shall be accused of.
Go ahead.
Either at the hour of our death.
Either when you die. Go ahead.
Or at the great day of judgment.
Or at the great day of judgment. You got to answer.
That is the witness. Conscience is the witness.
You know, it is a witness, but the scripture in the Revelations says there's two books that's going to be open in the judgment. The book of the Most High, which is the Bible, and the books, which is the actions that you've done, and you're going to be judged based upon the words of the Most High to what you've done on earth. You got to answer, and if you don't measure up to the Bible, it's failure. So every action is recorded. Every action, every word, every idle word shall come into judgment.
But I thought there was a witness that would be screaming at the top of his lungs,
you know what,
about
the witness. We'll get to that, but the two witnesses is Israel. But we'll get to that too, because it has two meanings.
Okay.
Read on.
It says, either at the hour of our death or at the great day of judgment, which when we please, yea, though we forget.
It says, although you may forget of all, the conscience may forget of everything it's done wrong, of its crimes. He says, but in due time, the Most High is going to bring it back up, and He's going to show it back to you. He's going to show you that inventory. He's going to show you all your crimes. Go ahead.
We'll chop and remember us to look upon it.
And the Most High is going to say, you remember you did this? remember on December 23rd, 1997, you and your buddy, you remember this?
Hey, I assume he could probably put a video up.
He said we gonna see it, man.
Yeah, you can see. Hey, look right over there. Look,
that's why repentance is so critical.
Yeah.
That's why repentance is so necessary, because it's only by the grace of Christ that we're even here today. He said, but it's either gonna do what?
We'll chop and remember us to look upon it.
It's gonna throw all your actions back in your face. Go ahead.
That while we have leisure and are here, we may remember to amend.
He said, but you better remember as much as possible while you're still alive, that you better rewrite all your wrongs. That's what the opportunity that we've been given here right now, today. We're only alive right now by the grace of the Most High in Christ to amend all of our wrongdoings. Not to continue doing wrong, but to make right what we've done wrong. That's what this opportunity is now. Go ahead.
So at the day of our trial, compare.
Meaning appear. Meaning the book of your record of all your actions will appear. Go ahead.
With new and white garments.
It says it will appear with what?
New and white garments.
And if you amend your ways and amend your actions, he says in that time the Most High is not going to use it against you. He said the Most High will go ahead and give you new and white what?
Garments, washed in the blood of the Lamb, as St. John said.
Just like John said, John the Revelator said. So the objective is to gain virtue now and make every correction possible as to not convict the conscience any more than it's already been convicted. Any questions? All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and say shalom. We're not going to the prayer. It's already 10:37. But let's go ahead and make it out. Shalom, y'all.
Shalom.
The water.
Shalom. All right. That was good.